What's up, man? We at it again. Second day in a row, but y'all see the title. Terrence Crawford speaks out about the Errol Spence fight, and we're gonna talk on it. I know a lot of people seen his IG live. He went on IG live yesterday for about 30 minutes or so, something like that. He gave his take, his side of the story. Like we all know is it's two sides of the story. Then it's some things in the middle. But he gave his side of the story. He came out and talked about the beginnings of the negotiations to the middle to the breakdown. Now, let me hear some of these key points that he was speaking on. He said that yes, him and Earl Spence were speaking um, behind the scenes, trying to get the fight done, get the particulars out the way. He also said he sat down with Al Heyman. He said Al Heyman was a good dude. Al Heyman was easy to speak to, but it was some things that he was asking for that Al Heyman, was not, I guess, was not going to relinquish as far as him seeing the books. Now, a couple of things. One, Terrence Crawford had a really good point when he said he is his own boss. He's coming to PBC. He wants to fight Errol Spence. Essentially, in this fight, he's a partner. He said he just wanted some transparency. He wanted to see the expenses because there's no guarantees. Neither fighter had a guarantee. So, and plus, he's on the outside looking in because Errol Spence is with Al Heyman. He's Al Heyman's fighter. I guess he's not Al Heyman's fighter. He's supposed to be the advisor to these guys, but we all know how that goes. He's supposed to be an advisor, but nevertheless, Spence and Al Heyman is in the same camp. He said, well, I have no problem with that. I can't fully come over here and trust Al Heyman to say, well, whatever the fight makes, I'm going to give you such and such percentage of whatever, they negotiated, whether it's 35, 40, or whatever percentage they negotiated. He said, I just want to see the books because I want transparency. I cannot just take your word for it if I never done business with you. And if you do business with someone, you should never take anyone's word for it. You should see the books. You know what I'm saying? See what's going on. See the expenses. See how the money is coming in. So Al Heyman said, no, that's not how he do things. So I guess that's one of the breakdowns. Terrence Crawford also said that BLK, who he's about to have a fight with Evanescence on, said that they will offer $25 million to both Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence for the fight. So Terrence Crawford said since he at the time he believed that Errol Spence, when he said he was a boss, his own boss, he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna present it to Errol Spence. He said he called Errol Spence and said, Errol Spence, look, BLK want to give us a guarantee of $25 million. He said Errol Spence was like, okay, so what's gonna happen? How much we gonna get on the back end? And he said, well, if they make their money back, we're gonna get 80-20. So you're gonna get money on the back end if they make their money back. If they both get $25 million a piece, let's be honest, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence are very good fighters to great fighters. They're not that highly popular amongst the casuals. And casuals are what sell big pay-per-views, not hardcore boxing fans. There's not enough hardcore boxing fans to get a big pay-per-view going. And like Terrence Crawford said, he said, people stream the fight. People got fire sticks out there. No one is really paying for pay-per-view no more. To a large degree, the man is right. Pay-per-view, see, 20 years ago, when it wasn't all this streaming and all this pirate, and you could steal the fight, people had to order the fight, or they had to go to someone's house. About 10 people get together. They have cookouts, like I used to do with my friends. I used to have barbecues the day before a big fight, the day of the big fight, and they used to come over and we used to all watch the fight. I paid for it. Everybody would watch it. But now, shoot, you can see the fight all over the place. The fights be all on all types of streams now. you don't really have to pay for the fight if you don't want. If you don't want to pay for the fight, you don't have to pay for the fight. And that's what he was trying to get through Errol Spence. Like, look, man, they're giving us $25 million guaranteed. That's a lot of money. I'm willing to tell you right now that PBC is not offering Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford $25 million a piece for the fight. Now, whether the $25 million were that's what they was going to get, Terrence Crawford only knows that. You know what I'm saying? He only one knows that BOK offered the $25 million a piece, and he said he talked to Al Heyman. Al Heyman said he's not going to let anyone touch the fight. You know what I'm saying? I listened to Fernand video a little bit when he was I listen to a lot of people's videos. I want to see people takes on it, how they consume what Terrence Crawford said. You know, some people they worried about his body language, like Fernand said. I'm worried about his body language and him looking nervous. Fernand, I like the man was like a prisoner of war giving a speech. You know what I'm saying? That the captors gave him. He didn't look nervous to me. He didn't look fidgety to me. It's just that y'all didn't like what the man was saying, because it doesn't go with y'all perception of what y'all think Al Heyman is or what y'all think Errol Spence is. I don't have no perception of these guys. I don't know these guys personally. I don't pretend to know these guys personally. I don't pretend to know what happened in the negotiations, right? I could just read people. You know what I'm saying? I can read how people present themselves and how they interact. And from what I can see, until I'm proven wrong, I might be wrong, I don't see Terrence Crawford as a BS artist. I see Terrence Crawford as a straight shooter. I see him as a guy that no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I see a guy that he's not like Mayweather. He's not trying to get all the money, like all the money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just not his. That's just not his persona. Which, if it was, that's just his business. I'm just saying what I can see. I believe that Terrence Crawford wants to prove that he's the best fighter in the world. He wants the Errol Spence fight. To a certain degree, do Errol Spence want to fight? He probably want to fight as well. It's just, I think Errol Spence, because he's listening to all these people on social media and the YouTube boxing community that are his hardcore fans, he believes he's bigger than what he really is. And like I said, neither one of these guys are that popular outside of hardcore boxing fans. And boxing is a niche sport now. Boxing is not one of the top sports like it used to be before. I'm gonna even say the early 2000s. Boxing was still, it was still a big factor, but it started going down slowly but surely. It started going down largely because America did not have a heavyweight champion for a while. The Klitschko's ruled for like 10 years, so that kind of made boxing fall back to the background. But nevertheless, like I said, boxing is a niche sport. Boxing is almost like a nerd sport now, where it's just like a bunch of us nerds that really, really like boxing, and we like talking about boxing. Some of us like to talk about the soap opera part of boxing, like people purses and fighters doing this, got this car, got this jewelry, or this and that. It's then there's some people in here that are really boxing fans that talk about the fight, actual fight, the history of the sport, breaking down the fight. You know what I'm saying? Breaking down different styles. Like I said, there are content creators who, me, Zone, and we was on the phone one day. We was talking about the difference between a content creator and a boxing guy. You know what I'm saying? A guy that gets on here and talk about boxing and create content that way. But people have agendas, man. So if you like our Errol Spence hardcore, you're gonna take from that interview. You're gonna take what you want to take, and you're gonna slice it up. You're gonna make it sound like how you want to make it sound, but you can't make it sound like anything, because all the person got to do is go look at the IG live themselves, and you're gonna hear Terrence Crawford laid out his his side of the story. You know what I'm saying? It'd be good if Errol Spence come out and say what he got to say. Then we can contrast the different statements, and we can see where conversation breaks down and where it breaks down in. But like I said, he said that he found out that Errol Spence really not his own boss. And I've been telling y'all that for years, man. These guys are not their own boss. It's just the fact that Al Heyman cannot be a promoter and an advisor. He has to be one or the other. So um, he chose to be an advisor, quote unquote, an advisor, and he's not the promoter. So, but me looking at the whole thing, he's the promoter, he's the advisor, he running everything. They think Al Heyman. I mean, you get on a if a guy's your advisor, I wonder how many guys advisors they get after the fight. They think they're advisor. I don't think so. I don't think guys think they're advisor after the fight. Nevertheless, Errol Spence is not his own boss. I've been saying that for years. And it's people that see y'all basing y'all whole agenda around Errol Spence supposedly being his own boss. Terrence Crawford said, I called that man, telling him about the 25 million. He was talking about this and that. He talking about he got to talk to this person, got to talk to this person. If you your own boss, Al Heyman is only your advisor. Now he can advise you on the best way that he feels by him going out there doing the research on which fighter to fight, this and that, this and that. Let's not fight this guy because of the financial situation or this or that or this or that. But Errol Spence, you can veto anything Al Heyman says because remember, he works for you. He's your advisor. You're not his advisor. So you can veto anything he's saying. And you could say, well, Al, I really want this fight. I don't want no other fight. And I heard Errol Spence say he don't want any other fight. He wants this fight. So if that's what you want, you tell Al Heyman, okay, well, if you can't give me the fight and BLK is supposedly putting up $25 million for me and Terrence Crawford to fight, I'm going to take that guarantee money. I'm going to take that 25 million. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to beat Terrence Crawford. I'm going to bring the undisputed welterweight championship with that other belt. I'm gonna bring it back to PBC, and I'm coming back, but I'm going over there, and I'm gonna handle business. I mean that I have to veto you on this one. Errol Spence is not doing that. And then Fanon said, I heard him say that, well, they have investors, okay, but they're not in. They don't have contracts with those investors. Investors invest in anything they can make money on. That's why they're investors. If he goes over there and Black Prime gets the fight and those investors cannot get in on this fight, you don't think that the investors are going to come back to Errol Spence if Errol Spence have another big fight? You don't think the investors will come back? Of course they will come back. They don't have feeling. They don't put their feelings in front of them making money. Like, ordinary people on this YouTube that they let their feelings run wild. They get their sales all. They get all in their feelings when they talk about these fighters or arguing about these fighters. Those investors are in it to make money, and if they can make money off of Errol Spence, they're going to come back and make money off of Errol Spence. Plain and simple. So it's not that. It's something going on. Between Al Heyman and Errol Spence, one of them do not want the fight. Now, is it Errol Spence? Is he hiding behind Al Heyman? Or is Al Heyman making it so that Terrence Crawford won't even take the fight? I don't know, man. What's up, man? What's up? You can get in, hit the link, get the smoke. Anybody can hit the link. We can talk about it. Speak your piece. I want to see what you think about Terrence Crawford IG Live. He came in and spoke his piece. Like I said, he spoke his side. It's always two sides to the story, and there's something in the middle that's probably missing that and no one is speaking on. That's why if Terrence Crawford, it's Errol Spence, come out and say what he got to say about the whole thing, because he was part of the negotiations. If he come out and speak on what he said, then we can see where the conversations break down at. We can contrast the conversations. I'm not taking anybody's word as 100%. What I'm doing is I'm seeing what Terrence Crawford is saying, and some things what Terrence Crawford are saying is some things I was already thinking. What's up, man?
What's up, Wayne? Man, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, I ain't been on here in forever. I took a hiatus.
I hear it.
Hey, so
I
what do
hear
you
that he
think?
came back at the perfect time. Daniel Jacobs' voice.
What do you think about the whole? I'm gonna go on mute. I want you to speak your piece on what you think about the whole situation from with Terrence
Wow. The whole situation, just the latest. I mean, just the latest. Um, I think of his IG live. His IG live. I guess explanation about what happened with the talks and the state of the talks. Um, it sounds like Bud Bud acted as if what he said was to clear his name, but really it just made anyone who has been saying that Terrence Crawford um, is not the reason why this talk stalled and ultimately collapsed. Like if anyone thinks he's not responsible, he just put them in a really tough spot to like try to argue that. In my mind, um, I think the best thing he said last night to like kind of like throw some doubt out there is to talk about the $25 million guarantee. But in the same breath, he talked about what Al Heyman said about that $25 million guarantee, and it seemed like he agreed with Al Heyman because he went past it. But then it seemed as though he didn't really like the idea because he said it was a crappy deal. So I'm confused as to how we got from 50-50 that he talked about to zero guarantee. He didn't say how we got there. And then once he agreed once he saw the books and he said he agreed to bet on himself, why he then characterized that as a crappy deal, as a bullshit deal, or whatever. Like however he talked about it, he just talked about it in the negative. So I don't know. To me, it sounded like what he said. Like what I heard was, um, "I'm new to the game. Now I'm a free agent. Now I'm feeling myself. Want to flex my muscle. I went to one of the most prominent businessmen in entertainment, like kind of history, really. And I told him how to do his business. Um, while he was, I gave him a deadline in which to do it. They worked it out, but the deadline came, so I exited the negotiation. That's what I heard. Now, whether or not you think you should give away the rights to your intellectual property for $25 million, that's up to you, right? Like I think you can. There's an argument to be made that 25 million bucks is all you should expect from this fight. That's a ton of money. There's another argument to be made that you could make more than $25 million if you don't take such a huge guarantee up front. And that's just, I don't know that that's about being a boss or not being a boss. That's decision that bosses make. But I don't think like the way that Terrence Crawford characterized the decision as if you take the money, you're a boss, and if you keep your intellectual property rights, then you're not a boss. That just seemed to be like a misunderstanding of the situation and from my perspective. Um, but yeah, I mean, most of it is just kind of like I got the feeling that Terrence Crawford is feeling himself. Like he is going out and he's gonna see what market value he actually has. He's not gonna let anybody dictate his worth to him. And shout out to him for that. That's like kind of my thoughts about last night.
Hey, yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so when you say the intellectual property, so you saying that Al Heyman don't want to give the fight, he don't want the fight to be in BLK hands because he wants to have the intellectual property to be on PBC so they can own it, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that Al Heyman is saying the fighters are going to own it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, like right now, Showtime is getting like they're giving the fighters 90% of the pay-per-views,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they're not giving high guarantees for that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you give a high guarantee, that means you have to hit a certain number of pay-per-view buys before you get any like back end stuff, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you get like a $25 million guarantee, the chances of your backing money are going to be like kind of weird, right? You're gonna have to hit a certain point,
Okay.
and depending on what it sounded as though the $50 million, the hedge fund was coming to buy the actual rights to the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the IP I was talking about. The IP is the
Oh,
rights to the
okay.
fight.
Okay, so the BLK was coming to buy the actual rights to the fight,
No, I'm
period.
talking about the hedge fund.
The hedge.
BOK is buying Terrence Crawford's services, it sounds like.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
might be buying the rights to the fight. It could be very well that they're buying the rights to the fight. I think that's what's happening, but he didn't
Okay.
talk about that.
Okay.
But I think we're talking about two different the value of two different properties, right? Like, there's a different value to Bud versus Errol Spence than there is to Bud versus David Avernesian.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable. It's a different price. It's a different
Right. It's a different
yeah.
value, right? Like,
Yeah. It's
those
a
things are
different
worth
value.
different things, right? So if you have a hedge fund that's coming to buy the rights to the fight, then Al Heyman is like, no, I don't want anybody to have rights to the fight. We are going to have rights to the fight.
Mm.
You, Errol Spence, and you and Errol Spence, like that, because Al Heyman was negotiating on behalf of Errol Spence, not on behalf of PBC.
Yeah. Well, he's
right?
supposed to. Because he's supposed to be his advisor, right?
Correct. That's who was
Okay.
there. He's there to argue. He's there to negotiate for Errol Spence. So what Al Heyman is saying is that Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence will keep the property rights. They'll keep the IP rights. They won't sell them to a hedge
hold
fund.
on. So you saying that that Al Heyman allows the fighters to keep the property rights to the fight? Are you saying that?
Well, I'm saying if he is Errol Spence's advisor, he is there on behalf of Man Down Promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's Man Down Promotions and Terrence Bud Crawford Promotions who's going to have the rights to this fight.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm look, because I know Eubank Jr. and his father, the biggest downfall they had with Eddie Hearn is they wanted to own their fights, right?
Yes.
But I think the only person that really owned a fight so far is Mayweather that I know of. I don't think these other fighters.
I mean, all of those promotional companies, like all those self-promoted guys, like Wilder owns the rights to his fights with Fury. He did Bomb Squad before the first one, so it's always in conjunction with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets a piece of that, like, in perpetuity, the residuals, and also the exploitation cross platforms. Who else is over there? I think it's really just Wilder, Spence, that I know who are like prominent doing like sort of big fights that are also like, have their own promotional companies.
Okay, so what do you think about Terrence Crawford said he presented to him that BLK put $25 million on the table for both of them? And
that's not what he said. BLK Prime was not mentioned in this thing. He said hedge funds. He said he had a couple of hedge fund guys to do it, right?
Okay.
Like, he didn't mention BLK at all. BLK is like a different thing.
Okay. So he said he had a couple of hedge fund guys that put $25 million on the table, right?
Yeah, for both of them, yes.
So, and look, remember, this fight right here did not have a guarantee, right? Am I right? The fight between Spence and Crawford did not have any guarantees for either fighter, right?
Well, I think that was at Bud's behest. What Steven Espinoza, the guy who offered the guarantee, said that it seemed though the guarantee that they offered Bud didn't like. And so it sounds to me like what he was saying, we didn't really go in depth about it in this IG thing. It sounds like the guarantee was so low that he didn't want anything. It might as well have been nothing to him. So he's like, why get a guarantee at all? I'll just bet on myself. But I want to like approve expenses.
Okay. What do you think, Ryan? Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead, Clark.
Man, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
I can hear you good. Okay, so my thing is this, man. What I think is this. I think the main hang up of the whole idea is this. Okay, they're not getting a guarantee purse. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. But he just want to make sure. I mean, Bud want to make sure that he's getting the right amount of money, right amount of pay. Because, say for instance, with the hedge fund thing, they'll guarantee him 25 million to 25 million. And he was willing to take that because neither one of them probably made $25 million off a fight. But when Al's saying, okay, no, I'm gonna do this fight myself, it make it seem like, okay, he wants to do it himself, which is fine. But say for instance, he's not opening his books to Crawford, and he has the right to see that because he is his own promoter, he is his own boss. So why would he trust a guy that he never done business with to tell him, okay, well, look, the fight made this much, this your share, this your part? I just don't think it's smart business. I think it's dumb. So I wouldn't have took the deal, man. I think the $25 million a piece with the hedge fund that was played, but it seems like Al had something else up his sleeve.
If you don't mind, I don't want to like jump in and show just a couple of things. Al is there to represent Errol Spence's interest, not his own. Right? This is not like an Al Heyman up his sleeve thing. This is, and as you point out, he has the right to see all the expenses. So it's like a weird thing that the negotiation would turn on that, since he's legally bound to that. That's like saying you have to argue about like somebody shooting you in the chest. Like the law prevents you from shooting in the chest, someone in the chest. The law actually prevents Al Heyman from not showing Bud the books. So like that's not really a negotiation point. What seems to be the issue is him having veto power over the expenses. Now that thing, yeah, like if you're not bringing money to the table, then why in the hell would you have veto power over the expenses? And then also, if you've never put on an event at all, much less an event of this magnitude, and I, on the other hand, have been putting on events like this like longer than you've been boxing, and not only that, put on the biggest boxing events and the most iconic fights in like boxing history. Like, why would I give you veto power on the way that I conduct business when you're not bringing any funding to the business? The only funding you're bringing is selling the rights of the fight.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crawford getting a share of the net gross, right or wrong? That's what he was getting paid off the net gross.
It sounds
right?
like that's what they ultimately like settled on, was him getting a. They're going to keep the rights.
Let me ask you this: why can't he know what the net is?
Of course he can. He would know.
And you're
what the
saying
net is.
that. No, but that's what they were saying. They weren't going to open the books. That's the part of being the books.
No, that's not what he said. Like, here's Terrence Crawford asked for transparency, but what he described transparency to be is veto power over expenses. That's not transparency. That's telling somebody else how to run the business, because now they have to all the expenses have to be approved by Terrence Crawford or signed off by him. That's not transparency.
And you saying he's not making
transparency is just showing shit. And transparency is already baked into the law, right? That's the Ali Act. The Ali Act says if you're a promoter, then you get to see all the expenses.
And Bud's a promoter. He's promoting himself. But
correct. So he already has that protection. That's not a negotiating.
Let me ask you this.
There's nothing to negotiate there.
But at the same time, you're saying that Al Heyman is negotiating for Errol Spence, which is not himself. But Al Heyman gets paid through Errol Spence. So I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't trust it, bro. He never did no type of business with him whatsoever. And you heard him in the interview say, "Well, hey,
yeah, this is not a trust thing. It's not you don't trust him. The issue isn't about trust, right? The issue is whether or not you get to tell me how to run business. Like whether you trust me or not, that's a separate issue. You don't get to dictate how I run my business just because you don't trust me."
Man, I understand that, but Bud was saying that he never did business with him. He say Al's very charming. Hey man, I like Al and I like to talk to him. But at the end of the day, even though he's real charming, that's Earl's guy. That's his guy. So he's gonna benefit, make sure Earl's good. So it's a trust thing.
He was there for Errol. He's like literally there as a representative for Errol Spence. Like, of course. I mean, I get where he's coming from. I get the. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not at all mad at what Terrence Bud Crawford did. I just think that people have a misunderstanding about what he's saying. He's saying that I want to approve all the expenses. And that is not like reasonable. Like, really, that's not like the way business is conducted, like ever, right? Like, somebody who is not putting up money doesn't get veto power over the way the money is being spent. Right? So, like, that is the issue. Like, that's really what's happening, right? But it took them a minute to figure that thing out. It sounds like they did figure it out, but also put up a deadline to figuring it out. So he asked for a whole bunch of stuff that nobody does business this way, and then put a deadline on how fast it needed to happen. And since it didn't happen that fast as Bud wanted it to happen, now we are where we are with the talks.
Well,
we don't know if the fight's ever going to happen. Errol Spence has a bunch of mandatories.
Yeah,
it seems like he burned some bridges. Maybe they don't want to deal with him because they feel like he's not a good faith negotiator. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. That we heard word salad from Get This Smoke long enough. Okay,
there you go. There you go.
Broad,
what's up, Zone?
All broad and ambiguous terms as usual. First of all, you could count the pockets all you want to. You don't know, I don't know. But this is what I do know. I do know that they don't want to fight. And that's been a pattern with Errol Spence here of late. Ever since we've exposed him and done the research and follow his pattern about him being this quote-unquote boogeyman, strap season, I'm gonna beat everybody ass, Mr. Tough Guy, Mr. I'm impervious to business. I don't care about the business. Mr. I'm gonna beat everybody ass. This man down. Mr. Tough Guy, remember? That's Tough Guy. So you're gonna keep the same fucking energy as long as I got eyeballs to lay on you. So now his tone is different. When Sean Porter them told him about business, what did everybody say? They're ducking. Oh, that sucks. It makes no sense. We don't understand business. We're talking about hands. Okay, so now let's keep the same energy. What are hands at, Errol Spence? You say you don't want to fight Keith Thurman, and now you don't want to fight Errol Spence now you don't want to fight Crawford because your team, who you're responsible to, had decided to turn down a deal. Crawford proposed a deal. Hey, man, can we have transparency on the books? Whether you want to word salad that into taking control and feel some type of ego stroke in there, that's on Al Heyman. If you feel that this man is controlling his business, that ain't got shit to do with what that man said. He just asked him, hey, I'm taking the short end of the stick. Let's compromise. That's all I heard in what Terrence Crawford said. He was willing to compromise to the extent that it may be in opposition to his own best interest. But he can only go so far. That man don't got to give up a left kidney to fight this bum. This scary ass bum who don't want to fight nobody, who been going off this hype about he's supposed to be a tough guy and everybody ducking him. Now he's getting exposed. Man, the truth is, Errol Spence don't want to fight nobody that want to fight him that got real intangibles. He only want to fight somebody with a power deficiency, somebody who's too short, somebody who's already certified to get their ass whooped multiple times. He don't want to fight nobody young, priming, undefeated, with no injuries or no excuses. He don't want that fight, man. He been saying it for 3 years. He don't want to fight. He got Terrence Crawford to jump through all these hoops. So now we get to the negotiation table. He's supposed to do all these other tasks for fucking Errol Spence. Man, come on, man. Enough is enough. You told the man to go get a belt. You said you're going to do the easy roll. This ain't got nothing to do with all this finessing talk that y'all doing. The dude's a sucker, and anybody that stand by him is a sucker. If somebody keep telling you they want to fight you, get your punk ass in the ring and fight him, dude. We're going to pay for the pay-per-view. You're giving us a shitty product. PBC has been getting away with this shit for years, bro. Make the fucking fight happen. I'm tired of making excuses for Al Heyman and the definition behind the definition and the long, broad, ambiguous terms that Smoke like to throw the fuck out. Fuck all that. I want to see a fight, man. All this talking in circles, all these videos coming about what this man really meant and didn't mean, man, fuck all that. You niggas write a paper on it and publish it. I want to see the fight. That's what I'm paying for. Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr., period.
Right. So did you hear say he wanted to say money was because I heard him say transparency, not what transparency is. You can like, it is what it is. It's devil's fucking speak. That's not transparency. That is telling somebody how to fucking run their business. I want to see a fight too, but we're not getting a fight. What we're getting is talks about why we're not getting a fight. If you want to talk about why we're not getting a fight, cool. I don't know about this, all that sucker things and like people standing by him and like Errol Spence shouldn't have fans now, or else they're all suckers. Like I don't, whatever. That's you and your view about this whole thing. I'm a little bit more. I'm not that. I'm not there. That's it. I want to see a fight. I don't want to fight my fellow boxing fans on the internet about why we don't get a fight. I'm not interested in that at all.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you that he a sucker. I ain't say nothing about get this smoke. I ain't say nothing about that. I'm talking about the fans who are delusional and who are full of shit, and we know who are. We know what full of shit means. Okay, this man has completed all the goddamn tasks. The man came into the division. They put the man to the side. Errol Spence specifically tasked him with a slew of shit, like he fucking Shao Kahn from goddamn Mortal Kombat, like he the king of the hill, and gave this man all these tasks to do. He meet all the tasks to fight your ass. It's a perfect scenario. No one's in the way. You don't want to fight Keith Thurman. You cleaned up your side of the street. You did the easy route that you said you was gonna do. What's the problem? It's the same shit over and over. It's gonna be the same thing with Boots, and y'all keep falling for it. Boots talking all this big shit. He ain't fought no Ortiz, no Stanionis, and we're giving him a pass because we're trying to put him in the mix with Crawford and Spence, and he should not be there. And then 3 years later, when he becomes a diva, we're going to be talking about what purse splits he did or did not do. It's the same shit, and you guys did it with Errol Spence, so it's a failure on your part for not making this guy fight.
Right. So, I mean, while you're pointing the finger at the PBC, this dude is fighting David Avanesian. Like, I'm not, like, whoever he fights is going to be a better fucking fight than David Avanesian, whether or not he fights Keith Thurman. Like, I don't understand this. Like, we're boxing fans. I'm not in this like civil war. Like, come on. Like, there's absolutely no damn way that you can like criticize who the fuck Errol Spence is fighting, given who Bud is fighting.
Man, that's not fair, bro. That's not fair because y'all pretty much back that man in a corner, bro.
Come on.
Yeah, to the point that he don't have no choice but to fight nobody but a David Avanesian, bro. They backed him right in the corner, bro. That's big facts.
Come on, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Look at it like this. Hold on, whoa. How many hoops did he have to jump to before he even got to the table? And then once he got at the table, they had him jump through more hoops.
They didn't have him jump through any hoops.
Okay,
hold up a second.
Fight Sean Porter. That's nobody.
Okay, so nobody.
Man, if that's the point, fresh off of his win at 140, bro, he would have gave him a shot. If that's the point, bro.
Okay,
he jumped through hoops to even get in position to fight Spence, bro.
Okay,
that's
so right.
Can I intervene, please? I just jumped in the show.
That's big facts, bro.
Can I intervene?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, so look, check this out, man. I'm not gonna sit here and say they gave him a hard time initially when he got to the division because when he first got to the division, at that particular time, Keith Thurman was the man in the division who was the unified champion. He wanted to fight Keith Thurman initially. Okay, he wanted to fight Keith Thurman. He wanted to fight obviously Pacquiao, and Errol Spence Jr. obviously was on that list, but he wasn't one of the top names on the list at that particular time when he first jumped into the division, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say initially they made him jump through hoops, but this is what I will say. Terrence Crawford has always wanted to fight everybody who's had a belt in the division. Now, obviously, the order will change as the division evolves, right? And you've seen the belt switch hands several times. Keith Thurman relinquished to WBC. Then he lost to Manny Pacquiao. Then Sean Porter, Danny Garcia fought. Sean picked up the belt. You guys know the history. I don't have to go through it.
But not to cut you off, bro. But I'm saying PBC as a whole. When I say them, I'm not just talking about Errol Spence. I'm talking about PBC as a whole because that was the proverbial other side of the street. You know what I'm saying? And they made that man jump through hoops. And then finally, when he did get to the table, they gave him some other stuff. And myself, I heard some red flags, bro.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm not done. So, again, you got to understand, man, this is the reality of it, right? Terrence Crawford came to the party late, right? He's the last man to come into the division that really has made some noise that actually holds a belt right now, okay? Now, it's no secret. We know how PBC do business. It's an in-house business because of the structure of the contracts and their money situation, right? So, yeah, I get it. When you're talking about PBC making these guys jump through hoops that's outside of the realm of PBC, I mean, they're not making Terrence Crawford do anything that they don't make any other motherfucker do. Let's be honest about it. Who's not in PBC?
But that
So,
don't make it closer though,
hold
bro.
on,
It's
hold on,
also what top rank has to do too.
hold on. I'm not finished. So, what I'm saying is this right here. Okay, I could care less what they did beforehand. I'm more concerned about why they're not making the fight happen right now, is my point, because I see you guys are anxious to talk. So I'm going to just go ahead and clean this shit up. Right now, PBC is in a very bad position as far as the kind of money that they can pay these fighters. Okay. At the end of the day, PBC presented a contract to Terrence Crawford that was an unordinary situation for both Terrence Crawford and EJ. Right? Neither one of these guys have guarantees, right? Obviously, EJ has the lion's share of the deal, but at the end of the day, Terrence Crawford was absolutely, because I believe what he said, he was behind the scenes trying to assist with the situation and to make this fight happen, even brought in other investors as he spoke last night on his IG in order to make the fight, and PBC still didn't want to play ball, right? So, look, man, at the end of the day, I think this fight isn't happening because PBC is, for whatever reason, holding it up, and I think it's just unfortunate. And like Terrence Crawford said, I'm not finna wait on you guys. I don't have to. I'm a free agent. I basically can do what the fuck I want to do. And as a grown-ass man, I think that's what he should do. Go get the guaranteed purse, and if they're really serious about doing business with you, then they'll come back to the table. If they're not, excuse my language, fuck them. That's just, it is what it is. I'm not mad at Terrence Crawford. I ain't mad at PBC. I'm just disappointed we didn't get the fight. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not going to defend PBC when obviously these motherfuckers really didn't handle their business, bro. It is what it is.
So, and to me, like this is just and if you can blame PBC, and I think that's a reasonable take, right? Like if you don't think that the fight is going to net you more than $25 million, or you're just cool with getting $25 million, and this is an offer, right? Bud came with an offer, they didn't want to do it. Cool, go your separate
Well,
ways in PBC,
real
right?
quick.
So,
Let me drop
and
this
then
in.
that's on the PBC.
Who if you don't your answer is your answer. I'm saying it's
Yeah.
Errol's fault, and I want to make sure that's fucking clear.
Right. So here's if I can
who do
finish
you
what
believe?
I was going to say though before you just make that thing
No,
clear that you want to make clear.
hold on.
All right, then we're just going to be talking over each other then, because like I'm not going to interrupt you to like make my point. I'm not going to do that. So like I'm just going to keep making my point until my point's made. So like I was saying before, I savagely interrupted by Zone 6 because he's triggered about this fight. So like I was saying, like to me, if you don't need to give up the rights to your fight if you don't want to. Like if you shouldn't have to do that. But you also that's cool. I just want to finish my point and then that's it. Like Errol Spence, if he does not want to give up the rights to the fight, that's not bad business. That doesn't mean that they're scared or don't want to make the fight. Errol Spence, like Bud Crawford, it's a reasonable offer. It's also reasonable to turn down. I'm done.
We heard that an hour ago. You was on here with B Talk for a fucking hour. We heard you. You was talking in circles. Now there's more people on here. Now all of a sudden you want to break the rotation. I'm asking you. You could keep running your mouth for 30 more minutes about intrinsic value and all these bullshit terms you like to use. Who fault is it? Is it nobody, or is it Terrence, or who fault is the reason the fight not happening? That's what I'm asking. The whole panel. I want to draw the line in the sand. Fuck all that talk, because Errol Smith's supposed to be a badass. I don't want to hear all this kumbaya shit no more. I want to talk boxing. I want to talk about the tough guys. So
I mean,
tough guy. Well, why is tough guy not fighting in the ring, and why he ducking Keith Thurman? I want to talk about tough guy. So why y'all ducking and making an excuse for this nigga when everybody else do this shit? Y'all kill him. Y'all kill everybody else. But for this sucker,
okay, all right. You want me to kill him? You want me to go for? You want to fault and then just kill somebody? Because it's gonna be Bud. If you want me to kill somebody, it's gonna be Bud, and I'm not trying to kill Bud because I think Bud is actually just trying to make his money and like do his career. So I don't know why somebody needs to be killed in this situation. But if you want me to kill somebody, it is gonna be Bud. Because he's the one who's coming out with these weird ass fucking terms, and then also bringing artificial deadlines to his weird ass terms.
There the truth go. There you go. See, I get them be talk next. Who else? I get the truth go. There. Fuck all that sell it talking. You think it's Crawford fault? Yeah.
I don't think it's anybody. I don't. But if that,
well, what you saying for then?
No,
Why you ain't say nobody? Why you?
Well,
say
let me say who fault I think it is. I absolutely think PBC is the motherfuckers that's supposed to be hosting the fight. They all the guys that's holding all the paperwork. It's their job to get the fight done. Both of these guys, to me, obviously want to fight. They couldn't make both guys happy. So guess what? It's PBC fault. It's your job to get this thing to closest making everybody happy as possible. And they failed to do that. They failed to deliver the Terrence Crawford fight. And Crawford is his own boss now. And congratulations to him. He has somehow arranged his biggest payday he has ever gotten. And he's going to be on pay-per-view. And he is fighting a tough opponent who's been in the top 10 for about four or 5 years now. So, look, at the end of the day, man, he's taking his career into his own hands, exactly like he's supposed to do, instead of waiting on some other motherfuckers to satisfy his needs when he can satisfy his own. It's PBC fault all day long, period.
Okay, agreed. I like that. Who else? Where EJ at? I see him in here. Where that's him?
Yeah. Yo, bro. Yeah. Yo, you know what? I missed the banner. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I know everyone's getting heated, but bro, like, I miss you guys, man. I had a good scrap out here for a minute. Yo, what's up? What's up, Smoke? What's up, Zone? What's up, Phil? What's up, E-Talk? Yo, man, I had a good scrap for the minute. Shout out to the guys in the chat. Listen, bro. Like, listen, when I heard this stuff out here, my first thing is like, yo, bro, you don't credit for Terrence Crawford. He don't even talk. Like, he don't like the media. The fact he had to come out here, bro, to straighten this is because, boy, people were saying some stuff about him. He had to straighten it out. Now, whether it's true or not, we ain't getting what we want, man. And he's laying it down, pacifically. And, he calmly laid it down. Now, whichever side you want to take, which I'm probably going to take Buzz Crawford stuff, because the way he laid it down, it was smooth. I'm like, yo, bro, we talk about our own bosses and stuff like that. He wanted to meet him on the table. I'm like, nah, man. No, because truth, Spence is admirable. He's been doing everything right. But, bro, we got to get this fight over the line. And the fact that it's not happening, it's a shame. I mean, it's a straight out shame. And I like Annishan's getting he's getting his title shot. But that ain't what we wanted to see. We wanted to see Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford. We want to see who is the best welterweight. We've been waiting for that for a long time. And it's disappointing. Right now, if it was a seesaw, because before, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was Bud's fault. That's the way everyone was making it seem like. But what I'm hearing now, it seems like it's Spence's fault and the PVC and Al Heyman, that's what it comes across until I hear anything else. And I don't like it. Zone's been very vocal about this thing in terms of when Spence was approached by Crawford and he said, you need to get a belt or you need to fight this guy in front of him. Really and truly, if you want to fight a guy, you just fight. You know what I mean? You just fight. I have to agree with that situation. If you want to fight, you fight. And Keith Thurman did the same thing. Keith Thurman was the number one guy. And he told Spence, yo, you need to go do this, you need to go that. So, eventually these guys are going to get caught up and they're going to have to fight each other. There's nothing they can do. If you go to 154, the Charlo brothers there, there ain't nowhere you can go. So these guys are going to have to fight. Bud is in a situation, he's going to fight number one contender. Spence is a situation, I don't know. If he's going to fight Keith Thurman, I like that fight. But after the winner has to fight Bud. So right now, in my opinion, it's Spence's fault. Because that's the evidence what came to me is Spence's fault. But I don't hate Spence over. You know what I mean? I don't hate. I'm not interested in the business side of it. I just wanted to see the fight. So that's what it is. But I miss you guys bannering, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That shit was funny as hell, bro. It was funny as hell. But yeah, that's my take on it, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, Smoke really wanted to come on here and talk his son. And he must have forgot who he was talking to. So we know you think it's Crawford's fault. Okay, that's fine.
No, I don't think it's anybody's fault. But really, okay, you're the one who makes this reductive thing like it's somebody's fault. Like, really, Crawford is doing his business. Errol Spence is doing his business. If you want to talk about like who's doing like weird shit, it's Bud doing weird shit, not Spence. He's the weirdo out the fucking bunch. Which, like, he is the one who signed to an organization that had no fucking fighters over there. So now everybody else has a different market value. They have a different market value and a different way to do business. Now he wants to come in for the first time in his life and tell Al Heyman how to run his business and say, you know what, you guys are like tripping. Okay, I get it. I'm not even mad. The guy at Bud should be able to get his fucking money. He should be able to dictate terms for his career and his fucking life. He should get all of that stuff. Does that mean that now the PBC, because Bud wants to get everything he wants in life, the PBC needs to alter everything, the way that they do business? Is that a reasonable request? I don't think so. Everybody's got to come together to make the fight. I don't know how this is that needs to be somebody's fault.
You're grossly exaggerating. See, you're trying to conflate two things. This is what I'm telling you. I'm saying that it's Errol Spence's fault because I actually been watching boxing and watching what he said out his mouth. See, I don't need this. See, you guys are pulling evidence from what Terrence Crawford said out his mouth on the Instagram interview. I didn't need that. We already been talking behind the scenes, and I said this is what's going on. Errol Spence don't want to fight. Now, Zone, I don't know about that. You just, okay, we're going to see. Why this man, it's clear that he don't want to fight. He's not interested in fighting anybody competitive. Okay, then move up to 154 and fight Charlo. You can't fight Charlo because y'all two buddies. There's obstacles in that way too. Okay, you can't fight Terrence Crawford. We'll move him out the way. You don't want to fight Keith Thurman. Okay, I'm not even going to put the Boots thing on him because I don't think Boots, that's fair. I give him that. I don't think Boots should be in this mix. But, bro, you got to want to fight somebody. Like, come on now.
Yo, can I interject? Can I interject, Coach?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to let you interject. Go ahead.
So, look, check this out, man. I'm going to keep it all the way 1,000, right? So, I don't think Terrence Crawford is doing anything weird. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Rick Glacier kind of broke down some good points in the interview that he did that I heard the other day in regards to this here matchup and the way the contract is structured and everything. Now, as Terrence Crawford has been his own boss, I think we all would agree that the way that this contract is structured with no guaranteed money it's not uncommon. Fighters have fought fights with no guaranteed money and took the pay-per-view proceeds and a percentage of the pay-per-view proceeds instead. So that particular part isn't, it's not uncommon, but it is different, right? So let's just go ahead and just get that out the way, right? So a fight of this magnitude, I think it is uncommon for a fight of this magnitude. Let me first of all say that, okay? With that being said, considering Terrence Crawford is a partner in this fight, I do believe he should have access to view the books. Now, when I say the books exclusively, Rick Glacier broke it down. He said the promoter would be able to see the books. Obviously, Terrence Crawford isn't. We said if Bob Arum, let's just say, was still in charge of making fights for Terrence Crawford, he would be able to see the PBC would be able to show him or have to show him the books for the gate as well as the PPV sales, right? So at the very minimum, Terrence
all
Crawford.
Revenue.
It don't. Yeah, all revenue, but the gate.
Says all revenue gets to like the fighter, like not even the promoter. Like every single cent that the promoter gets from a fight, the fighter has the right to see that revenue.
Exactly.
Like, he doesn't need to negotiate this. This is like the law.
Okay, we saying the gate and the PPV is what we're saying. Like as far I don't give a fuck about how many bags of popcorn they sell. Okay. I mean, they making money from the real money's coming from the gate and the pay-per-view sales. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about specifically. Say the promoter would be able to identify these numbers.
Hey Phil, I don't want to interrupt you, but hey y'all, I'm about to go on this Zoom, but I'm keeping this on. So I'm gonna control this, but I'm not gonna be saying anything. So I'm gonna let y'all know. Okay.
Do you think? Go ahead.
So which is the pay-per-view sales, right? So what I'm saying is now the particular part where Terrence Crawford is asking for the power to approve expenses. Now, I don't know how that particular thing goes, so I won't speak on that, but to approve expenses sounds a little like you can say whether they can or can't spend money on that, right? But I don't know anything about that. But just seeing the books and being sure how much money you getting is the correct and amount of money is nothing wrong with that. That to me, that seems normal. That's what every businessman is going to hold on, Smoke. That's what every businessman is going to do, right? Now, I don't think it's a problem with him taking 35% because he negotiated that and he's willing to take it, right? So I don't have a problem with that. I think if the books thing or the expense thing is what's holding up this fight, I think it's bullshit, bro. I'm sorry. I think it's bullshit because that man should be able to see how much money he's supposed to be getting paid, bro. Like at the end of the day, that's just a small ask for somebody that's coming over to do business with you guys that's never done business with you guys before. You understand what I'm saying?
So Phil, when I said it was weird, the thing I was talking about that was weird was approving expenses, not looking at the books. Looking at the books is something that he already has a right to do. You don't have to negotiate this thing. It's the law. The federal government has already figured this thing out for you. It's a weird thing to go in and say, hey, you know what? The way that this thing, what broke down is we need to negotiate whether or not you're going to follow the law. Like, you don't even have to ask somebody to do that. Like, this is a very strange thing. What's weird to me is that Bud Crawford wants to approve expenses and that he put a deadline on for them to figure that thing out. That
What's
to
wrong
me
with
is
that?
the thing that's
Nah,
weird.
hold on.
I don't think that's weird, though. I don't think that's
One
weird.
second. Now about the deadline.
Hey Phil,
Now,
hold on. Let me ask him a question because you
this man,
and we let you cook. I just want to know why Spence got the floor, whoever, and anybody. Why is that a problem, Smoke? You say it's weird. What would be weird about me saying, hey man, I'm coming in this thing as an independent contractor, businessman, whatever you want to title it.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to see what you guys are spending money on because see, if you giving your side chick this green card girl number fucking 8, you getting this bitch goddamn a $250,000 because y'all fucking. I need to see that. I mean, I'm just being real.
We're all in agreement that he should see the books. And not
All
only
right,
that,
so
the
look,
federal
hold on,
government has been in
hold on,
agreement that he
Smoke.
should see the books.
Hold
They
on,
already
Smoke.
passed a law that says he gets to see the books. We don't need to
Okay,
argue over whether or not he should see the books.
Smoke. I got it. But look, let me speak on the deadline, right? Before they start negotiating this fight, Terrence Crawford had already officially issued a deadline. Okay? Now, when I say that, Terrence Crawford has already told the world, motherfucker, I'm fighting this year. Like, he already said that. Now, you can take it as in he's saying, we gonna make this fight happen this year. Or if you a smart man, you'll say, this motherfucker gonna fight with or without us. Okay? Because he don't have no obligation to PBC, Errol Spence, or any of that shit, bro. So to me, when you give people deadlines, you put fire underneath their ass. Like, that's like if I'm at work and my boss don't give me deadlines to get shit done, I can just take as long as I want on these motherfuckers with no accountability. The deadline is to hold a motherfucker accountable. I don't see an issue with that, bro. Like, at the end of the day, if I tell you, look, bro, I want this fight to happen, I want X, Y, and Z to happen, and I need this to happen by this time, and it don't, then I got the right to say, hey, I told y'all what it was. Bye. If you want to really fuck with me, spin the block. Hopefully I win my fight and we can possibly get this shit done the second time around. There's nothing wrong with a deadline. That's holding motherfuckers accountable, period.
Right.
And
So
you know
here's the
what
thing.
though? The crazy thing. Hold on. The crazy thing is he went to Spence about it first, and that's how he found out he wasn't his own boss. Like he's been holding over his head for the last.
Okay.
What's your name?
We're gonna get into the semantics about what a boss is. All right.
Hold on,
Listen.
Hold on. Let me because I want to acknowledge Cuz, man. He been kind of stepped on. What's your name, big dog?
Oh, this 913 boxer.
913. Okay, he ain't got the names under here, and I ain't want to.
What's up, 913? I don't know if I've been on a panel with you before, but if not,
I just started this channel stuff though. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
Man,
everybody else that have been chopping this up for years.
Yeah, but hey, let me just jump in real quick though. But you see, the thing is, you see what we're talking about is transparency, because he, like you said, like what Phil said, he gave him a deadline, and if we didn't get it sorted, I have to fight. And that's why he's fighting Ananesian. And he said, what I liked about him, he said he's got guaranteed. See, I didn't know about this stuff, man. He was educating us on the thing about guaranteed. Every time he fights for top rank, he knew he was how much he was gonna get. He didn't care. And this is what Nigel Benn told me when he worked with Don King. Don King, when he was doing the Eubank fight, Don King said he was gonna give him guaranteed. I think it was like 2 million or something like that. And Don King paid him 2 million. He didn't care about how much he was earning on the back end or how much you selling towels or the merchandise, the ticket. No, you're gonna give me my 2 mil up front, straight up. And that's what he did. And that's what Terrence Crawford is saying. I know how much I'm getting. I don't care how much you're gonna make. I'm gonna make my 25 mil. I got a hedge fund to come in. I'm gonna make my 25. You can make 25. I think the problem where we're doing is Al Heyman's the middleman, right? And he's the middleman, and he's like, how much am I gonna get? What cut am I gonna get? And Bud's saying,
moved off from the deadline.
Hold up.
And Bud's saying that's between you and your mans. When you get your 25, you guys sort out. But I'm making sure I get my cut, and I don't think that's set well with Al Heyman. This is what I'm hearing. I don't
want to change the subject from deadlines. Now we're on whether or not you can take back end money or guaranteed money. This is a different conversation.
But you know what though, y'all?
I'm just speculating. You know, I just
Hold
want
on.
to talk about Phil about the deadline. Change the subject to something else.
We don't need to argue. I haven't talked about it. I'm just
like, EJ finished, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I respectfully let everyone say their piece in this. I know you've been around. I only came in like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes.
I just want to talk about the deadline. That's all. I mean, I want to get to what you're talking about, but it's a different subject.
After I finish. But what I'm saying is that where it comes to me, Al Heyman is the sticky point right here. And obviously, if you're Errol Spence and you're like, well, he's earned me a lot of million, like Mayweather, he's made me a lot of money. I listen to his advice. He's advised me very well. I'm gonna listen to him. But when it comes down to it, bro, if you want to fight, bro, make the effing fight. Right? Make the effing fight. That's where it comes down to you.
Right.
AJ did the same thing. You know, AJ didn't want to fight Wilder. You know he didn't want to fight Wilder. And Eddie Hearn was blocking the damn thing. Eddie Hearn was making excuses. You knew AJ didn't want to make the fight, bro. So I'm just saying, from what I'm hearing right now, Spence don't want the fight. And he came across like Bud was getting all the blame, and Blood said, yo, I don't like coming out here. I'm gonna say my piece, So that's where I'm at this minute, But like I don't hate Spence, but I really and truly, bro, like for boxing's sake, if you don't fight, all these YouTubers like Jake Paul and Anderson Silva and all them Mickey Mouse fights, they're gonna keep happening until you guys sort out your stuff. That's what I said. Go ahead.
So look, real quick, let me add this to that right quick.
If I can talk about the deadline.
No, hold on. Let me. I got one thing to say. Smoke. I'm gonna be quick. Let me add this to this right here.
I mean, this is like
BLK. Hold on, bro. I just need to add one thing, bro. One thing. Yeah, just hold your horses. BLK Prime came to Crawford with a potential fight with Alvanesian during negotiations with PBC. Crawford told them, no, don't worry about it. I got to put y'all on the back burner right now because I can't fuck with y'all because this is the only fight that I'm focused on right now. He swooshed, he waved him away. He said, hey, look, I can't do business with y'all right now. When they didn't meet his deadline, then Crawford went back to BLK, and this is how the fight got made so fast because they had already put this thing into play with the option that this potentially would fall through between Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Go ahead.
All right. So, to talk about the deadline and just because now, there's a couple of different points from both you. And now there's 2 points from you.
No, EJ.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to go 2 points from you and 2 points from EJ. Right. So the 2 points from you, the deadline and the BL.
EJ. No, man. EJ was just speaking. Phil.
No, but he said a whole bunch of stuff. I get it. It'll be very fast. It's gonna be like one sentence, bro.
Don't. Just let him cook. Just let him cook, coach. Just let him cook.
You want to go?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was trying to cook this entire time, but people keep jumping in and adding more points. So
I get it.
Anyway,
go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. So when it comes to the deadline part of it, I don't have a problem with the concept of a deadline to hold somebody's feet to the fire. The issue when, in this particular case, but A had a negotiating team that he said was negotiating that he didn't give power to. So that took a whole bunch of fucking time. And then he asked for PBC to change the way not only they do business, but the way that the entire industry does business. So that took some time. So now you are the one who created the deadline, and you are the one creating the situation for the deadline to not be met. And not only that, your deadline happens to be 2 months from the proposed date of the fucking fight that we all want to see. So instead of getting Bud and Errol Spence in February, we're getting David Avenesian in December because this dude just said to everybody, I want to fight this year. That to me doesn't hold water. That's the first part of it, right? The second part of your thing is the BLK Prime. And the BLK Prime is cool, right? I'm not mad at him for saying what go on the back burner. I'm trying to make this fight. I'm not saying that Bud is not trying to make the fight, but Bud also, I don't know this to be the case, but it doesn't seem to be the case that he told other people that he was going to be negotiating with BLK Prime, and he had another fight going on there. So when it comes to like fight negotiations in the future, I don't know how you trust Bud Crawford, but I'm not the one negotiating with him, so it ain't my fucking issue. I'm just bringing it the fuck up, right? If they can figure it out, they can figure it out. But when it comes to like the 25 in the hand versus the pay-per-view cost, to me, that's why I have a problem with assigning blame in this situation, because it's really just a matter of what it is you like, what it is you prefer. When it's a matter of preference, I can't hate on somebody for wanting $25 million and just taking what they have right now, because that seems like a sound business move. And also I can't hate on somebody who says that maybe I can get more than a guarantee because this fight is big enough. And that both of those things, that's just like, it's 6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. It seems awfully fucking reductive and simplistic to try to assign blame in this fucking case. Go ahead.
All right, so
check this out, bro. Check this
go ahead,
out, bro. All right, so I got my points. All right, check it out. So he sit up there, man, and negotiated with dudes since May. And then he said, well, at first I was talking to Spence. And then he found out, oh, well, shit, Spence ain't the boss. So he said, okay, man. Then I started chopping it up with Al Heyman. Am I lying? You know what I'm saying? So when he got to chopping it up with Al Heyman's like, well, I can't do business right now. I'm not focused on this. My mama's sick. And so he tried everything, bro, to make this fight. So he went and found some investors. And when he found some investors, he came back, was like, all right, boom, I got 25 mil. They're going to pay us 25 mil. What did Al Heyman say? He's like, oh, damn, you gonna take a deal like that? You may get more. But if he would have made, if he's got potential to make more, have y'all ever thought, then why the fuck didn't he offer him the 25 million? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. If he's like, oh yeah, you could make more from this fight, but then he should have offered him 25 million from the get-go, because that just seemed like that's his asking price. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't be listening to the way, you know what I'm saying, people be trying to finesse, and that's that backroom back talk finesse. Yeah, Al Heyman came off as a cool dude, this, that, and the third, but he one of them brothers that probably trying to finesse. That's my point.
I don't think it's necessarily about him trying to finesse. I think Al Heyman is just Al Heyman. He's not going to relinquish control, because right now he feels like he's in control, right?
Yeah, bro, but that's not Bud's problem. That's not Bud's problem.
Hold on. You don't even know what I'm gonna say, homie. Slow your roll.
Nah, that ain't Bud's problem. What they got going on
bro,
the camp.
You don't know what I'm about to say though. So please don't interrupt me again. Thank you. So what I'm saying is this right here. I don't think it's a finessing kind of situation. I think Al Heyman, by going through investors with a totally different entity that he has no idea who these guys are, is him relinquishing complete control of the fight. Because now, if these motherfuckers are paying for the fight, Al Heyman is no longer in control. Okay? I think it's about Al Heyman, his position in boxing, and him realizing that, damn, motherfuckers really can get this shit done without me. You understand what I'm saying? So, nah, it ain't about no finesse. It's about ego.
But see, that's exactly what I'm saying with my point, bro. That's not Bud's problem. Especially when you got a narrative. When you got a narrative going around.
I'm agreeing with what Phil's saying, man. Let Phil's on it. He's on the ball, man. Ego right there. Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's not about him finessing, bro. I mean, Al Heyman obviously has made some amazing deals in boxing. Like, let's not bullshit ourselves, right? He's just in a position right now, like I said to everybody, he has mishandled funds, okay? And he's been the man for a while, right? All the way up into this, everybody thought Al Heyman was a guy that can get shit done. All right. He was doing all these wonderful things for the guys in the PBC. But the truth of the matter is, behind the scenes, this business was failing, bro. The business side was failing. And now people are realizing this now that this shit has come to light. These guys were able to scurry up enough money to give Canelo Alvarez $100 million. And it's not because PBC has the money. It's because PBC was able to gather investors to invest into Canelo Alvarez. It had nothing to do with PBC. Okay? These guys have ran out of money. And right now, these guys are in a position where they are solely making fights with just back end because they don't have anybody to invest into a Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight. You know why? Because what these guys are asking for supersedes the amount of money that they're willing to pay these guys up front. Okay, you got Errol Spence Jr. with his last pay-per-view did 250,000. You have Terrence Crawford who did 150,000 against Sean Porter. These guys aren't even doing a 500,000 pay-per-views between the two of them. So when it comes down to it, if I'm an investor and these guys are asking for, let's just say $10 to $15 million up front, I'm saying you got to be losing your goddamn mind because the statistics don't show that they can produce the amount of pay-per-views based on how much money they want. That's the reality, bro. And when you go to Al Heyman and you tell this motherfucker, hey, I got somebody willing to put $50 million down on the line, his ego is fucking shattered, is on the fucking floor, and he out here looking like Humpty Dumpty. And that's the fucking truth, never to be put back together again. That's just the facts, bro. It ain't no finessing. It's that these motherfuckers have mishandled their business and they have put themselves in a position to have one of the biggest fights on fucking earth with no motherfucking guaranteed money. That's what it is.
All right, so just straight up. So let me ask you this. So because really what I heard, while you guys are hearing ego, what I'm hearing is ownership rights. Like what he said was I have 25 million from a hedge fund, and Al told him yes, nobody else is touching this fight. That's what Bud said. But Bud also said you're capping your earnings if you do this, because I don't know. Like, listen, I don't know if you would rather have $25 million or the rights to Rumble in the Jungle. But for me, I'd rather have the rights to Rumble in the Jungle. And if you're talking about this is one of the biggest fights on earth, like in the history of boxing, all this shit, why wouldn't you want the rights to that fight? Why would you sell that to a hedge fund?
Because you can't feed your money on film, homie. That's the truth. You can't feed your money. You can't feed your family on a film, bro.
Bro, I didn't interrupt you. What you feed them on is the licensing fees for the film that you own. That's what you feed your family on. You exploit the fucking property. That's what intellectual property is for. But anyway, that's what the conversation was about. It wasn't about his ego. But when it comes down to like BLK Prime and like all this stuff, like this is a huge issue. Like for me, this is why I feel like the framing is like wrong for this. To assign blame in this is to say that there's a right and a wrong way to conduct business when you could get 25 million up front, or perhaps get 50 million over, or 150 million over the lifetime of the property. It's a gamble. It's a flip of a coin. I don't know how how is Errol Spence wrong? Like, it sounds like people in this.
But that's not a flip, though. That's not a flip of the coin.
Let me finish.
I got you, but it's not, though.
I'm just saying, for me, it is for me, I would side with, I want to exploit the intellectual property. Like, for me. But that's me based on my circumstance. I would be like, yeah, I want to own the rights to it. I'm not just going to sell it to a hedge fund like right now, since this could be one of the biggest fights in boxing history. I want the rights to Rumble in the Jungle. I want the rights to Hagler Hearns. I want the rights to Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. I want the rights to that shit. You could offer me a couple $1 million. You can offer me 8 figures up front on the night of, because you don't know, and maybe that's a good deal. But afterwards, once it becomes this iconic fight, you look like Boo Boo the fucking fool. But at a different point, right?
And then let somebody else. Can we cook?
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
You've been cooking the whole time, good brother. Okay. Only thing I feel with Phil saying, man, and I'd rather a bird in the hand than a bird in the bush. But from my understanding, I thought, pretty much that, okay, if it's gonna be a Showtime PPV, I'm thinking they would own it, right or wrong. But
they put up
these guys made this 20.
No,
But
they
hold
just
on, hold on,
licensed
hold
it.
on. This another thing though. Let me say this right here real quick. Get the smoke. You would have a point if Al Heyman would have said, "Hey, you can have the rights to this fight." He said, "Don't cap yourself with 25 million." That's what he said. He said
Correct.
nothing about the rights. So he's specifically talking about how much money you could potentially make on fight night. He's not talking about licensing and none of that shit. So you would
Nope.
have a point if Al Heyman would have hit him with the what about licensings? What about all the points that you just made? Al Heyman didn't hit him with that. He said you're capping yourself at 25 million when you could potentially make more on the night of the fight. So to me, what you're saying is a mute point. But continue, my brother.
And no, I got it. And I'll circle back, but I wanted to talk about like PBC going out of business. You may be right that they are that they're going out of business, but I think that your reading of the situation is a little bit off, right? The reason why they may be going out of business is because of Fox Sports being sold because of the pandemic and what all of the what all broadcasters are going through because of the pandemic. They signed a huge deal in 2019, right? Like to bring Fox into it. In 2020, all the sports shut down. But how that affected the PBC was Fox Sports got sold to somebody, and it actually has been sold twice since then. So now Fox Sports, part of their the huge pocket that they had, and they had a bunch of dates, they had a bunch of money, and most of their premier talent was going to Fox. Once Fox got out of the game, now PBC is scrambling. Showtime has trying to accommodate this new change by giving guys 90% of their pay-per-view. That's why they're doing what they're doing. But they have a whole bunch of fighters, and they lost a whole bunch of dates and their budget. This is not about Al Heyman running their business into the ground. Let me just finish.
They only get 90% of 60%. But carry on.
No, they get not okay.
No, bro. They only get. Let me tell you something. Showtime. This is how it works with PPV. They split the pay-per-view. Okay.
With the broadcaster, bro. The broadcaster saying he's not getting that money because they've amended that 50-50 deal. I'm not interrupting you. Like you stopped my man from interrupting. You went on like for a while. I just want to make these points because it's going long with it. Like you can respond to it afterwards. The broadcaster is the reason why they get this 50-50 deal. The broadcaster, in this sense, Showtime, is telling you they're not taking 50-50. Instead, they're giving their fighters 90%. Right, so I'm not even trying to go these like weird points. I just want to finish my fucking thing, and then you guys can have it. Like when it comes right down to it, right? And the last point I was talking about is just the night of the fight. Like you talking about, it's the night of the fight. Whether you think it's earnings or not earnings, right? The reason why and if you think that the majority of the money is made on the fight on the night of it, then you don't understand the money that was made for Rumble in the Jungle on the night of and then afterwards. Or Hagler Hearns. Like these fights are iconic and you make way more than whatever the hell the pay-per-view was on that night. Go ahead.
Facts.
Okay. So like I was telling you, bro, you would have a point if Al Heyman wouldn't have told this man, you're capping yourself. Okay? You are capping yourself at 25 million when you can make more. Okay? This is what Al Heyman told him. He didn't sit here and go through all these licenses rights and all this other kind of shit that you speak of. What you're doing right now is you're speculating, okay? And I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to go off what the motherfucker. No, I'm going off what the motherfucker just told me.
Yeah,
he said Al Heyman
Crawford said. Terrence Crawford. We don't have any proof of what Terrence Crawford said. So
but let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I do have though. Let me tell you what I do have. I have one side of the story. And then you have another side of the story, and then you have the truth. But guess what? I've only heard one side of the story. So I'm going to choose to believe the motherfucker who's actually talking and telling me shit
so you
about
can choose
the situation.
To believe whatever you want to believe, but what you can't do is take one side of the story and speak it like it's a fact. If you want to believe who you want to believe, that's fine. But you can't say Al Heyman told him this for sure because you don't know that for sure. So if you want to say, I believe that Errol Spence is the reason the fight is held up, that's perfectly fine. You can believe that. But you can't say that like it's a proven fact because it's not.
No, hold on. That's what I said.
I didn't say that. What I said was this right here.
You just said that.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I
You
didn't.
just said.
I didn't say Earl.
That's
I've
what
never
Terrence
said,
Crawford said. You just said
bro.
that.
I've never said Errol Spence was holding up the fight. What the fuck are you talking
Bro, you
about?
just said Al Heyman just told Terrence Crawford that he capped himself
I
at
said
25 million. You just
hold
said
up,
that.
man.
Let me see something. I want to
Al Heyman and Errol Spence are two different people.
Phil, hold on.
Bro, they're on the same side.
Phil.
If you're saying one side is saying something, you're saying the same side. So if
Yeah,
you're
Al
saying
Heyman is there and
if you're saying
negotiating
Al
for
Heyman
Errol
said
Spence.
this because Terrence Crawford said that, it's the same thing. You're
No, it's not.
taking what one person told you that isn't proven, and you're bringing it up in a debate like it's a fact. You can't do that.
So you won't be confused.
First of all, I can do whatever what I want. But
All right, well, you do whatever you want, but you sound dumb.
Yo,
if you want to go that route.
Hold on. I said that it's Errol Spence's fault. Me. So I don't know what
No. I'm saying he just blamed on Al Heyman telling Terrence Crawford that he kept him at 25.
No, I want to make
that's what I'm
clear.
addressing.
Nobody don't got
okay. So,
panel. You don't have to come on a panel and find out if there's somebody who's blaming Errol Spence. Me, I'm blaming Errol Spence. So you ain't got to put the energy on somebody else because he neutral.
I put it on anybody. I'm addressing what he said. I didn't hear you say anything.
Exactly. Thank you, Zone. I'm neutral. So like I was saying. So, like I was saying, I'm neutral. I'm neutral in the situation, as my man Zone just said. What I'm saying is this right here. When a motherfucker get out and tells me how the shit went down, to me, he has more credibility than anybody that's not saying anything. Okay? Now, you can choose to believe
words,
or you
Ryan Garcia?
You can choose. I'm not talking about Ryan Garcia, homie. You can choose to believe.
If you can keep the concept the same, then so you change that. So you change that with fighters. That principle doesn't stay the same for every fighter. You pick and choose who you believe and take from word of mouth.
What are you talking about? I assess each situation. I assess.
No. You guys know what I'm saying. Let me explain it real quick. So what you just said, you said the one fighter who's speaking. If nobody's saying anything, the one fighter who's speaking, you'll take as credible. There are plenty of fights where Ryan Garcia was the only one that said anything, and they came out a bunch of times that he lied. And I guarantee you weren't one of those people that believed him. So that lets me know you're gonna pick and choose who you'll take at word to mouth.
We talking about
Are you or can you take that as fact, or are you just guessing what you think I might do? Because that's killing your whole point.
Go ahead and tell me.
No, that's killing your whole point though. Because I'm asking you a question, bro. I'm asking you because your point. Hold on. Let me ask you a question, because your whole point is you can't take one side, okay, and believe it. And all this other kind of shit, if you don't know the whole truth and all this other kind of shit. So are you trying to tell me what the fuck I'm thinking without knowing what the truth is to me? Because that kind of backfires on what your whole philosophy is or what you're speaking on.
Whatever you think. I can't tell you what you think. I'm saying don't say what you think as if it's a fact if it's not proven to be so. That's what I'm saying. I'm not speaking, but this is the first thing. I never once said right here that it was a fact. What I said was Terrence Crawford said that Al said, why would you cap at 25 million? And I said, I am choosing to believe him. That's my choice. So, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. As an argument to the next man, you just brought up an entire argument off of something you just proved isn't even a fact. So that's what I'm saying. You believe it, but when you're going on the other dude, when you're telling him this, that, and other, and you're going, Al Heyman said this, blah 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 said that, as a counter argument to the dude, you can't do that because that's not a fact.
So hold on. I'm gonna need you to be quiet for 1 second. All right?
I've been quiet.
Listen to this right here. My man Smoke just explained about licenses agreements and all this other kind of shit. Okay? Now I'm gonna ask you, do we know for a fact that Al Heyman spoke to fucking Terrence Crawford about license agreements, or is that something Smoke is just potentially spitballing that could be a potential conversation that they had? Yes or no?
It could be a potential conversation.
So is that a fact, or is that something that Smoke believes could be a point of interest in the conversation between Al Heyman and Terrence Crawford?
If we ain't see it or hear it ourselves,
I'm asking you, is it a fact?
I'm answering. If we ain't hear it or see it ourselves, it's yes or no. I'm answering. If you want to let me answer, I'll answer.
Yeah, but you don't want to answer though.
It ourselves, it cannot be a fact. If somebody has not come out and proved it or said, yeah, that's right, it can't be a
Okay.
fact. I'm not on the side. So I'm not on the Errol Spence side. I'm not on Terrence Crawford side. I'm on the side of the facts. So don't move like there's facts.
Hold on 1 second. Let's move on. You already said that what Smoke said isn't a fact. All right. So if me and Smoke are having a conversation, because this is me and Smoke having a conversation. If Smoke is saying this right here, right, and Smoke is bringing up a point that nobody has mentioned at all. This is really something that he pulled out of thin air. Let's be honest about it. And I decide to say, well, Smoke, if Al Heyman, or if this would have been something that we know for sure Al Heyman would have talked to Terrence Crawford about, you would have a point. But Terrence Crawford said, hey, look, he didn't speak to him about license agreements. What he spoke to him about was Terrence Crawford said, Al said, why would you cap yourself at $25 million? Okay, this is a conversation.
And why would Al say that?
Hold on. This is this conversation that
and why would Al say that?
This is a conversation that me and Smoke is having. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, Smoke cannot take me as fact, and I'm damn sure not taking him as fact. All I'm saying is, hey, look,
so then
this is what Al
argument. This is what something that's not a fact, then that's not
bro. We're not. But this is the thing. We're not arguing about something that's not a fact. What we're doing is we're voicing our opinions. Nobody sit here is saying that I know for a fact this is what happened. So you jumping in this shit way too deep on some shit
because I've been listening for the last 10 minutes. I just got
on some shit where you don't even really know what the fuck going on. Well, you say you've been listening for the last 10 minutes. We've been on for an hour and a half, homie.
What they got to do with me? I heard the last 10 minutes. I don't care about an hour and a half.
Just to move this forward, just to move the conversation forward. Can you please explain to me why Al Heyman would say that he's capping his salary if they're not talking about ownership rights of the fight?
What?
What are you talking about?
Well, y'all say anything.
You said I pulled it out. You said I pulled ownership rights out of my ass. Even though Al Heyman said, if you take the $25 million, you're capping your earnings. Why would Al Heyman say he's capping his earnings by taking the $25 million if they're not talking about the ownership rights?
Because he told him you can make more.
Because
that's
Al
what he
Heyman
said.
Might think they can make more money.
He said Al Heyman said because you can potentially make more off the fight. That's what he said.
Yes, I got it. But by not taking $25 million guaranteed. So what does he mean by that? Why? How could he make more money?
Because I'm gonna tell you why. Because Al, all right, look, listen to this right here. If I got a deal on the table with Terrence Crawford, right, and I'm telling this nigga I'm gonna give you 35% on the back end of this deal right here, okay? And somebody comes to you, to me, which sounds like a better fucking deal, I would say, hey, your 35% could be more than 25 million. That could be what fucking Al Heyman is talking about. Get the smoke? You don't think so?
Right. So again, all right. So I think
at least at the very minimum, is that a potential what Al Heyman is talking about? At the very minimum, is that potentially what he's talking about?
Right. So what they're talking about is the split, not what I'll give you. Right. They're talking about the pie and how to split the pie. Al Heyman is not there as a PBC giving him money. Al is there as Spence's advisor, and he's negotiating for Errol Spence. Al Heyman is not giving the money for the fight. Showtime is. They're just talking about the split.
What does the split have to do with him telling him he's gonna cap himself at 25 million?
Everything.
Because they're talking about the ownership. Because Bud is bringing them a deal that's gonna give somebody else ownership rights to the fight. They're gonna buy the rights to the fight. That's what Al Heyman is telling him. Don't sell the rights to the fight. Exploit the rights yourself.
Yeah, because he tried to approach the Al Heyman fight with two hedge fund groups. He didn't have to do that. That's what he's talking about.
What does that have to do with anything, though? What does that have to do with anything, bro? He's talking about capping him at 25 million.
He just explained.
Correct. I'm telling you why Al Heyman said that. You said that I brought that out of nowhere. You said that it was a fact that I just fabricated out of thin air. I'm telling you, like, if Al Heyman is not talking about the ownership rights, why would Al Heyman say that he's capping his salary?
Are you saying for a fact, Smoke? Are you saying for a fact, Smoke, that you know when Al Heyman said that he was specifically talking about licenses agreements?
No. What I was actually saying is that while you guys are talking about ego, I'm hearing business.
As it should be.
And what makes you think that a deal cannot be worked out that these guys can still get paid in some kind of form as far as the licensing agreements is concerned?
Because Al said you're capping your earnings. You
No.
guys have said you guys
Answer
have
my
been capping.
question. Answer my question. Can it be something in the contract to where these two hedge fund groups work out a licenses agreement deal with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr.?
Why do they need
It very well could
sign
be.
a
I'm asking
contract
you.
with
I'm
hedge fund
asking
groups?
you.
And
He
no,
I'm
already
asking you.
offered him a contract.
yes, it
asking
very well could be. But you know what you'd be
If
doing?
life
You know what you'd be doing?
life
Yeah,
is,
no, you know what you'd be doing
if,
though? Right, I got you. Even if they get it somewhat, it still would stand to reason that Al Heyman is correct in saying that some of that portion some of that portion of that licensing agreement is going to go to the people who funded it, the actual capital, right? These capital investors, and they want a piece of the fucking pie. They want ownership of the fucking fight. Or else, why are they giving you money?
because they are paying for it. That sounds
Bro,
like
it's
good
not a
business to
business,
me.
it's an investment.
They're buying the
It's an
fight, bro.
investment group. They want the money back. It's an investment. That's why it's called an investment.
Yes, the investment
group.
is buying the property, bro.
They're gonna put the money up for the fight, and they want it on the back
Correct.
end.
They're putting the
So
money up for it because they're
why would
buying
Al
the
Heyman-
fight.
Bro,
Why would Al
bro.
Heyman choose to take the fight where he would have to pay two hedge fund groups on the back end when he offered them a fight where they'll both just make the money? That's what you're talking about. You're capping yourself. You're bringing in heads to be paid that don't need to be involved.
So let me ask you a question. Is it a potential that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. won't make $25 million off this fight?
Is it a potential?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Most
sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now let's get down to it, because you're talking about the reward of the risk, but you're not talking about people as being on fire from the risk, right?
No, I am. That's why I'm saying that's not.
Nah,
That's why I
but
said
you-
it's
but
not
you-
like
but-
this
but
idea
you-
that
but
it's
you
not
not,
fault.
though.
That's why I'm not trying to find fault, bro. Because I see
No,
both sides.
but you
One of them is.
Because look,
I am.
just as Al Heyman is saying, you may be capping yourself. Terrence Crawford could easily come back and say, well, I also may be shortchanging my fucking self too.
But he didn't say
right?
maybe. He said you are.
Huh?
He said he didn't qualify that shit. He said you are capping yourself. Not maybe. But the other part of this whole thing.
Let me chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let me chime in. Okay, I ain't really been talking. But when Bud said he talked to EJ, he told EJ, hey, EJ, $25 million a piece. And then once they recoup and make their money, me and you go split it, 80 to your 80 to my 20. And then he said this, hey, bro, people not really buying pay-per-views like they used to. And EJ say, yeah, you right, because I got a 5-stick. Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listen, all that could be the case, right? Like, we're not looking at 1 million buys. We'd be looking at 500,000 buys, and all that's still the case. But 500,000 buys is still a whole lot of fucking money. That's on just a pay-per-view. But really, like I said, we're talking about ownership of the fucking fight. Because if you bring out outside money, what they're doing is buying the rights to fight.
And there it is.
What the fuck does that have to? So
Bro,
owning
how you
owning the right, bro. Owning the rights to the fight. Owning the rights. Hold on, bro. Owning the rights to the fight has nothing to do with what Terrence Crawford is talking about. The money that Terrence Crawford wants guaranteed money.
If he sells the rights, they're gonna come
Bro,
back for the money.
This is what y'all not understanding.
For 5 minutes, bro.
This is what y'all not understanding. This is what y'all not understanding. Terrence Crawford wants guaranteed money. Okay, that's what he wants. Okay, I don't think he do.
I feel
he wants guaranteed money. Okay,
correct.
So all right. So if I'm a fighter and you offering me a deal, okay, in regards to me getting guaranteed money, because you got to think about it. When these guys give him this guaranteed money for this fight, now we don't have an issue of no fucking, oh, let me see the books. All the problems that we're having where the fight won't happen won't exist anymore. Is that right or wrong?
Correct. Correct. Yes. You're right.
Okay, so by Terrence Crawford going to these guys and saying, "Hey, look, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm eliminating all the issues that I have going into this fight. Not getting the guaranteed purse, not being able to see the books, not being able to do whatever the fuck it is, and I could get 25 million for fighting you. You also can get 25 million. When they make their money back from the fight, we can split the back end 80-20 your way. Okay, my nigga, that to me sounds like a wonderful deal. You know what EJ said to him? And this is obviously, we don't know if this is 100% true, but he said, EJ said, you know what? That does sound good. Let me talk to Al. That's what he said.
That's what Terrence said.
So it does sound
EJ
good.
said.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm not mad at it. The issue isn't whether or not a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, because we already understand that thing. Like, nobody's saying that Terrence Crawford is unreasonable. The business side of that, though, there's a flip side to it. No, you don't have to. He doesn't get to approve expenses, but you also don't get to exploit the upside. So yeah, this other person is taking all the risks, but they're also they're reaping all the reward. So if you think that this property,
if there is a reward,
if I can finish, bro, if I can just finish,
are they not going to make any money off the fight?
I'll be real fast.
If there is. You got to talk about the downside, though, Smoke.
Bro, I understand, bro. You don't have to keep pounding it. I get it. Bud made a reasonable offer. The risk is that you may make less than the offer that Bud came. That reasonable offer that Bud came with, you're gambling that you make less. We've already established that. But you're also limiting your upside. So you could potentially make way more. But you're not worried about making way more. If the other guy is worried about making way more, you can't fault that guy either. Both of those things are reasonable positions. That's my issue with trying to find fault in this situation.
So, but hold on. But let me ask you something. So Errol Spence Jr., and obviously I'm just going off what Terrence Crawford said. If Errol Spence Jr. said, hey, that sounds good to me, okay, let me holler at Al, okay? Now, it sounds like Errol Spence Jr. didn't have a problem with the deal, to me. Based off what he said, obviously, I would like to hear Errol Spence Jr. speak on it, right? But Al said no. Why would you want to cap yourself? So obviously a conversation was had. They brought it to Al. Al said, no, you could be potentially capping yourself.
Okay? Real quick.
Actually, what he said is, he said, okay, the issue was having outside money being involved in the fight. So if Bud wanted to come up with money, right? He's not an outside person. If Bud wanted to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy the rights for this fight. I'm going to be the promoter, or we're going to co-promote it, and I'm going to put up half the money for this fight. Therefore, I now have the right to check your expenses. Now we got some action. But what Bud seems to be suggesting is that, and I'm not mad at what you were just talking about, that he brought it to Errol Spence. Errol Spence said, yeah, it sounds good to me. Go check to Al. It makes sense to me that Errol Spence would defer to the guy that he pays to make these decisions. Or else, why the fuck pay Al if Al's not going to do his job?
Yeah, no, I get that. I don't have no problem with him going to Al.
Right. So he went to Al. Al told him, "Yo, check this out. You're going to be capping your earnings," and Bud actually agreed with that. But Bud actually made another stipulation, saying, "I want to actually approve expenses." But he didn't. That is what a 50-50 partner would. That is the right that a 50-50 partner has. But a 50-50 partner it seems to me, would be bringing the capital also, because the person bringing the capital is goddamn Errol Spence's group, because it's Showtime paying for it. It's not Bud.
This is a fact.
No, I got that part. I don't have no dispute with that.
So that's my entire issue when it comes down to this, like 25 million. Yeah, it's a reasonable offer. Yeah, it's not, and it's not unreasonable to turn it down either. Both things are reasonable. It's reasonable to think that this property is so hot, it's not worth selling the rights for it out front.
I have a question. Where could Errol Spence go to make $25 million?
I don't know that he's going anywhere. I think they're just talking about the value of this fight and how to recoup it.
Right, but my question is, like, who else could Errol Spence fight to generate that kind of revenue? Like, who
is Terrence Crawford?
No, I don't think it's about. I don't think he has like a bunch of 25. I mean, to answer your question, Canelo Alvarez.
Okay, so what's the likelihood of that fight happening in the next year?
So now he's making it the next year.
That kind of money.
So now it's happening the next year. Okay, I don't think that in the next year that there's any way that Errol Spence. I mean, I don't look at the books. He has man down promotions. I don't know that there's a single fight that would net him $25 million as a fighter and a promoter. Give him both of those checks. I don't know.
But let's also move forward saying that there's also Bud is not finding anybody to fight for 25 either. So whatever point you're going to make moving forward with that.
Go there. I don't even know if that's where he's going with it. But let's just answer his question. Let's see where we end
up. Let the man cook.
Whatever you say, broke that in two. It's both sides. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, as long as we can rope in that these motherfuckers could be potentially making less money, because y'all talking about the potential of all this money they can make when they could fall flat on their ass. So we're gonna rope some shit in.
Yeah, definitely. That's what makes Bud's offer reasonable. That's part of what makes his offer reasonable. You have $25 million, which is a ton of fucking money, and perhaps a reasonable amount to expect from this fight, and you have it guaranteed in front of you. But it seems as though the people coming in are unless somebody says that they're just invested. Like, I don't know why they would be not buying the fight, but let's just assume that, like, whatever. The point being is that Al said that you're capping your earnings. So really, what you're saying is the potential for exploiting the upside greater than the security that you have in a guaranteed purse.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Who's gonna own the fight after it happens?
It seems like Man Down and Bud's people, like whatever Bud's promotional group is.
No, hold up. Now, hold on, because you're speaking about this because you can't say it seems like, because you're talking about the licensing agreements and people buying and owning the fight. Hold on, because I don't see how you're saying that Showtime is putting up all the money for the fight, but they won't own it. So I'm trying to figure out who is going to own.
They won't own it if
right. So Showtime, the broadcaster doesn't own the properties; they license it. Just like when you see NBA.
Yeah, I know, like a video game. I got it. But
not even a video game. I'm just telling you, like NFL, like they just show the game. They pay money to license the fucking property. They don't buy.
Like Prime, like Prime got Thursday Night Football. I got it. Same shit.
Right. That's all Showtime is paying. It's a licensing fee that they're paying.
But can I interject for a second and just I want to talk about this whole idea that somehow Errol Spence is capping his income potential. It seems to me, one, I don't recall him ever making anywhere near $25 million for a fight, and B, it seems to me that capping his income potential, he's doing that by not pursuing $25 million fight.
Has either fighter ever made $25 million?
Okay, so let me ask you this. All right, so I don't think anybody thinks that Errol Spence made $25 million fighting Ugas, right? We heard Man Down Promotions all through that fucking broadcast and all this stuff, right? We don't think he made $25 million on the night. Do we think he's going to make $25 million over the next 10 years off of that fight? Don't know, right? Yeah. Because he's the promoter, he can exploit that property in perpetuity. That's what we're talking about. Ownership of the fight.
You can own a turd, but that doesn't mean that the turd, as it ages, will become any more valuable than what it already is. And I suspect
correct. That's part of the risk. That's totally part of the risk.
And I suspect that the Errol Spence Udenis Ugas fight qualifies as a turd. I mean, who cared about that fight? Nobody cared about it beforehand. Nobody cared about it the night of. I got it. Nobody cares about it now. Really?
The question is, will they care about it in 10 years? We don't know.
I'm asking you. So answer my. This is just my question right here. Who is going to own the fight? Because if you're promoting the fight, that means you are putting money.
The head promoter is probably going to own the fight. Whoever's the lead promoter will own the rights to the fight.
So on the face of it,
so if you have,
it seems as though it is about Errol Spence and Bud Crawford owning the fight.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can like I said earlier, right? Is it a potential that Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford could find themselves in this $25 million deal owning a piece of this fight?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Here's the reason why. Because Uncle Al is not going to let the fight happen. That's why.
No. I'm talking about if this fight, if they took the $25 million deal and they structured and says, hey.
Yes, you can still get a piece of it. Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm asking.
You can get a piece.
Okay.
But okay,
Hey,
but you do.
let
But
me cook
let's
real
say,
quick. Let me cook
we
real
can
quick.
we can
Let me
also
cook real
Go
quick.
ahead.
understand
What you
that like
got?
a
What you got?
10%.
What you got? What you got, Clark? You ain't saying
Let
nothing.
me
Go
just.
ahead.
I'm going to be real fast. We can also
Go ahead.
say that 100% is way better than 10%, right?
Well, yeah, 50-50.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but they own 100%.
Okay, when I know
If they give their rights away, they'll
what
maybe splitting 10%. Just so we
Okay, but
understand. Yes,
but
you
here's
can get a
but see
piece.
but here's the problem, right? 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing at all, which is what we have right now. Nothing at all.
Huh?
The reason why we
10% of
have nothing at
something
all is
is
because Bud set a deadline. That's why we have nothing at all.
no, we have
Man,
nothing at
come
all
on, man.
because Uncle
Bud
Al
set a
doesn't want to
deadline
let the
because
fight
it's
happen.
professional to set deadlines.
That's cool. If you think that, like, we instead of getting Errol Spence in February, we get David Avenesian in December, and that's a cool deadline, then cool. I don't find that reasonable.
Stop talking like this fight was gonna happen in February. They said February, potentially March, potentially
That's
April.
what the offer was on the table, bro. February 4th.
That's what they were saying, bro. They did not know when this fight was gonna fucking happen. Let's be honest about it. Okay, so let's just move on from that. We don't know.
Okay, how we gonna move on from
They didn't
there?
have no deal. The deal
that is
didn't get done,
foundational
bro.
to the deadline being reasonable or unreasonable. How can you move on from that?
Yeah,
Okay.
you
All
can
right,
bank
Clark,
on
what you
potentials of other
got, Clark?
instances,
Clark.
but you dismiss the potential of that contract. That doesn't make
Okay.
sense.
So what I'm gonna say this for shit sure. Just like Floyd say, and this is facts. Floyd say, hey man, these dudes with these little promotional things, like Tank Davis promotions, fucking Bud Crawford promotions, Errol Spence, man, down promotions. He say, man, it's just a bunch of shit. Because guess what? You are not no real promotion until you can give a person a $4 or $5 million fucking fight. And the only reason why they do that, and this is a fact, is to be able to give them cats more money on the back end by letting them promote themselves. Okay.
You have a point. You definitely have a point
partner.
about how you like having an LLC helps you split your income. The difference between Errol Spence and those other people that you just mentioned, Tank Davis, the issue is not whether or not you give a $3 or $4 million guarantee. That's just a function of investors. What the issue is whether or not you have a license to promote. What Errol Spence has is Frank Martin. He is a promoter. He promotes himself. He promotes other fighters.
I was about to finish cooking.
Yeah, go ahead.
You won't even let me cook, bro. And I've been letting you talk all day. I don't. Okay, bro. I got a partner. Well, I got two. I know two motherfuckers personally that's champions for the PBC. Swear to God. And they got their own promotional company. But anytime they have their own promotional company, it's gonna be so-and-so promotional company with Lube Development promotional company. It's always a tag promotion. They never they promotional company never stand alone.
This is a fact.
Pretty much only one owns his fucking fights, bro. And we know who that is. No, Pacquiao don't own no fights. Everybody fights that they own.
Are you for real? Do you think Oscar De La Hoya, the head of Golden Boy, didn't own those fights?
Okay, hold on.
You think Lennox Lewis didn't own his fights?
De La Hoya, now we talking about.
Yeah, that got a lot of people own their fights, bro. Like, this is not one person.
I'm saying
Muhammad Ali owned his fights.
Today in time.
Muhammad Ali owned the rights to Rumble in the Jungle.
Bro. I'm asking you today in time.
Today, Errol Spence. I'm telling you, today, Errol Spence. Today, Errol Spence owns the rights to his fights. Apparently.
All right, we can look this shit up though. Actually,
you can't tell who's gonna own the IP of a company. You can't look that
up. They ain't gonna cut that up for public.
You can't even find an IP contract, much less.
So how do you know that this shit? I mean, you speaking like this shit fact. Then you don't know.
I'm speaking about bro.
He just said apparently. He just said apparently.
I've been saying apparently this entire time. You're like, well, how's this thing? Like, it's just, literally, we're seeing man down promotions.
Hold up, you just said so and so owns their fights.
Right. So if you want to ask me about Muhammad Ali and main events and how he owns the Rumble in the Jungle, the rights to that, then we can talk about it because there's a long history of that shit.
I'm not talking about Rumble in the Jungle.
I'm
not talking about Rumble in the Jungle. I'm talking about, does Errol Spence Jr. own all of his fights? Or own the pay-per-view fights? So the ones that he promoted?
Like for me, I only brought up the Ugas fight specifically because that was the fight where they had man down promotions. They couldn't say that shit enough. So it seems as though he's the owner of that.
Okay.
That's the only property I brought up.
Was Dennis Ugas a co-promoter in that fight?
I don't know. They didn't bring up any of his thing. I don't know that he has a promotional company.
Okay. Okay. I don't know either, so I can't speak to that. I'm just asking if he was.
I know. I'm just that's why I just brought up the Ugas fight, because I know that he promotes Frank Martin. I know in order to promote Frank Martin, he has to have a promoter's license. So clearly he's different than Tank Davis. Yes, some guys out there have LLCs and they split their money. So part of their money, and even those guys are getting that percentage that Phil is alluding to, right?
But
Because since they're self-promoted, they get a piece of the pie, but they're not the ownership. Anyway, go ahead.
It's apparent that, and I hear everything you're saying, but however, it's apparent, at least according to Terrence Crawford, that Spence cannot negotiate a deal on his own behalf.
I don't know. Okay, so it looks to me from the outside looking in that Errol Spence understands that Al Heyman is a better negotiator than he is, and not only that, he pays Al Heyman to negotiate on his behalf. So it's not an issue of whether or not he has the ability to do it. It's whether or not he thinks he has the wherewithal, the sophistication, the acumen to do it.
So then, are you saying
better than Al Heyman?
So then, are you saying that?
Can I say something real quick? Real quick. If you were to, let's say y'all had stocks, if you are to hire a broker and that broker is directing you as to where to put your stocks and your money, right? That you pay him to do that, that's his job. So if you go to him to advise you for that and you bring a business deal to him and he tells you don't do that, as the business advisor, as the person you hired to do that job, and as somebody that you know has more experience and more understanding in business, why would you do it? So if you're saying that Al Heyman is telling him not to do that and you're using it as a counter argument, that doesn't make sense because Al Heyman is doing his job.
So let me ask you, does it cut my broker out of the deal?
It depends on the deal. So are you saying
no, I'm asking you because
no, the broker's still going to execute the deal.
Hold on.
It doesn't cut the broker out of the deal.
Oh, how doesn't it cut the broker out of the see because
the broker is still going to execute the deal.
No,
because the guy doesn't have the license to actually execute the deal.
Hold on, Smoke. See, all right. So now you're talking my language. We can talk this money shit all day with this shit right here.
That's what I'm trying to do, man.
Hold on. If you go to the broker and you ask him about this deal, okay, and it's a difference between him being your broker and him giving you financial advice. It's two totally different things, right? Well, we agree on that.
Okay, right. Yes, the correct thing would be your investment banker, right? Just so we get the analogy tight, it would be your investment banker.
Hold on. I need an answer. Is a broker and an advisor two different people?
They are, yes.
Okay.
A financial advisor. A financial advisor and a broker are two different things.
I'm gonna let you work. But let me just say this: do not delve too far into the pedantics of the analogy to prove your point. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. So, all right. No, I got you. So my point is this right here. This deal is going to potentially move Al Heyman out of the way. Okay. Now, Al Heyman can still be Errol Spence's advisor on how the deal is broken down and what's wise wordage and verbiage to make sure that his client is taken care of. Now, but when it comes to the actual fight and the money distribution, Al Heyman has nothing to do with that. He is exclusively now dealing solely with Errol Spence on his behalf of how to basically maximize his finances within the deal that's given to him. That is two totally separate things. So it does cut Al Heyman out of the deal, right or wrong?
Let me
hold up a second, real fast, because right now what you're describing is a conflict of interest. I need for you to explain to me.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is.
Hold up a second. Yeah, I hear you, but what I need for you to explain to me is how is Al Heyman going to get cut out?
Oh, I can explain that. Wait, I can explain that because the issue is that, or the reason is that Al Heyman PBC, they have contracts with other entities, and this side deal that Bud has come with cuts these other entities out. So now Al Heyman does not get his kickback.
No.
How?
Nope.
Okay. The only other entity, the only entity paying for this fight was Showtime. So you're not cutting Showtime out. Who are you cutting out?
You have to understand.
Investors.
Let me finish, please. You have to understand. When we're talking about the revenue from a fight and the revenues that are generated, there are other people other than the networks that contribute to the kitty. Okay? You have advertisers. Okay? Corona, for instance. They kick something in.
So how would that cut out the advertising? How would that cut out the sponsors? Yes, sponsors are a big part of the revenue generation. But how would bringing in this hedge fund cut them out?
So Al Heyman has a relationship with certain entities. Some of these entities are sponsors, like Corona, for instance. I don't know that PBC and Corona have a relationship. I'm using Corona as an example. They do. But Al Heyman does have relationships with these.
No, I'm just wondering how the hedge fund cut out the sponsors.
How does he get cut out? Explain that part.
So here comes Bud Crawford with this side deal. Okay, Bud Crawford was approached by some other entity who is apparently not connected with PBC. We got $50 million for you, okay, to fight. But this $50 million, you are now going to fight under our banner. We are not connected to the PBC, right? Now, Spence, he can take care of Al Heyman's cut. But Al Heyman's people, the people who he are affiliated with, they are now removed from the equation.
Bingo.
Okay? All right. So if they're removed from the equation, where's the fight going to be? Oh, wait. So you said that they're going to remove it from PBC. So what you're saying is, this group, this hedge fund, now throws TV shows. What is their banner? Because it sounds like they're a hedge fund, not an entity that throws fights.
Listen,
they're just trying to buy property.
Who knows? It could be a bunch of drunken.
No, but then why? But okay, so
you have to know.
No, you got to square the circle for me. You just said that they're cutting Al Heyman out, but a hedge fund is not cutting Al Heyman out. They're just buying a fight.
No,
bro.
You have to understand. You have to understand. When I say they're cutting out Al Heyman, what they're actually doing is cutting out the PBC and the machine that works behind it.
How? That's what I'm asking you.
And I'm explaining it to you. So you have to understand that the PBC is a well-oiled machine. All right.
I understand, bro. I'm just asking you how it's made without they cut them out.
I'm explaining it to you.
No, hold on. This. Hold up, real quick. So this is. Let me get this straight right here. So you telling me these people gonna invest $50 million and they gonna say PBC, Al Heyman, y'all do whatever y'all gonna do with it. Just make sure I get my money on the back end. That's what you telling me this company gonna do.
Right. So
I'm asking you. That's what you telling me this company gonna do.
Right. So what I've heard, I haven't heard that this shit that is a hedge fund is now about to start to be in the business of putting on television shows. So unless I hear who's going to actually produce this fucking television show and where it's going to be broadcast, I don't understand how Al Heyman's getting cut out.
So let me ask you something. So all right. So hold on. Let me ask you something. Right. So you get an investment group, right? Okay. You got your investment group. They put the money behind the fight. Now, okay. Obviously, we got the money for the fight. What's the next step? We need somebody to do what? Promote the fight.
Yes, we need the fight. Yes, we need somebody that's actually going to put the fight. We need somebody to promote the fight. And we need somebody to broadcast the fight.
Okay, all right. So you already said that Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, they're the ones that's promoting the fight, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we got the promoters, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what's the next step? Broadcasting?
Broadcasting.
Okay, now, obviously that's probably going to be what? Showtime?
Showtime.
Okay, Showtime. Boom. Bingo. All right, so now we have Showtime that's going to be broadcasting the fight. Tell me how PBC fits into this scenario.
Right. Right. So the way that so since we're talking about Al Heyman being cut out, Al Heyman is his advisor, right? So Al Heyman is still going to be getting his money.
No, so I already said Al is going to get his money.
Oh, Al Heyman is not getting cut out then.
So yeah, he's not getting cut out.
No. What I said was, you're not listening.
He's not getting cut out because
what I said was Al Heyman will solely get his cut of the money on Errol Spence's end because he's an advisor. This is what I said, clear, loud as day. I don't know if you guys heard me. Can anybody contest? That's exactly what I said earlier.
I'm not even trying to contest it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said earlier, Al Heyman will get his cut of the money.
So the PBC is where he's there as PBC. So you're saying Al Heyman is more interested in his PBC putting on the fight than he is in his 10% cut.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo.
Okay, great. So now here's a question for you.
So it is a conflict of interest.
Hold on. Why do you think Man Down Promotions won't be using PBC?
What do you mean?
Who's putting up the money for the fight?
The hedge fund.
Then they become the lead promoter.
The hedge fund is a hedge fund. All they're doing is providing capital. They're buying the right to the fight.
But you have to understand. The lead promoter is whoever puts up the money.
The lead
by
promoter, the lead
default.
promoter, the lead promoter. The financer is not the promoter.
No,
These
Okay,
are two separate things.
Can I say this real quick? This is gonna be my last thing, real quick. Bob Arum is infamous for he continuously uses hedge funds, right? We notice he gets investors for a lot of his fights. He does not put up all the money for a lot of his fights. Do we know this?
No, I
He doesn't
got
put
you.
up the money for any of them. The network
Okay.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
The network and the sites put up the money.
Now, with those, when it's time for that fight, where do you go to watch that fight?
It's gonna
ESPN.
be
You
on
turn on
Showtime.
ESPN Plus
It's gonna
because
be on
he owns
Showtime.
that fight. It's the same thing. All that.
No,
hedge funds are gonna do,
it's not.
they're gonna
No,
put
it's not the
money
same thing.
into it.
It's not the same thing
But
because
it is,
he has
because that's their
contracts.
job. They're gonna put the money into the fight. They're not gonna promote the fight. They're not gonna house the fight. They're
Bro, but
gonna put
it's
the money into the fight for it to happen to get their investment back on the back end.
It's not
Yeah,
the
I got
same
you.
thing at
I'm not
all.
saying, bro.
Not
Because
another
you know why?
Matchroom. They're
Because
not DAZN.
CBS is owned by Disney. I'm sorry, Showtime is owned by CBS, and ESPN is owned by Disney. That's not the same thing.
Thank
Not
you.
at
Right?
all.
They're just owned by two different companies, but the flow is the
It's
same.
still the
The
same.
way
They're
that their
owned by
fucking
two
business works, they're
different
just
giant
companies.
companies, two
Do
different
hedge
competitors.
funds throw fights
They
just
compete
like
All right, so hold on.
when they go into
Two
Hold on.
different
Everybody,
things.
investors,
everybody be
do
quiet.
the investors just
Everybody
put the
be.
money into
Hold
the
on,
fight? Name
bro.
an investor who
Bro,
bought a
hold
fight and
on,
just put it on
fam.
TV
Chill.
themselves.
Yo, hold on, chill. Hyplo, I think Hyplo would probably have a better idea of how this shit goes. I'm gonna let him cook.
Well, all I wanted to say was that Smoke was saying that it's the same thing when
I didn't say that. That was
ESPN
somebody else.
No,
And what
that
you're
was
saying
you.
is that it is
I
the
just
same thing.
heard
I'm
you
just
say
agreeing
it.
with him.
You just
He's
said
the one who said it.
You just said ESPN Plus or ESPN and Showtime, same thing.
No, I didn't.
And it's not the same thing at all.
I didn't say that.
Opposite. Two
I
opposite
didn't
things.
say that.
He
bro.
didn't say that.
Okay, roll.
And I didn't
Rewind
even
the
say that, so
tape.
you still twisted my words.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
was
just
the one
telling you.
that
The guy
said
who said it is telling you he said it.
Hyplo, it don't matter who said it. But make the point though.
The point is that they're two different things, bro. That's all I heard. I just jumped on.
All right, y'all have a good.
And how are they two different things? How are they two different things? I'm just curious.
Well, CBS owns Showtime, and
Yes.
Disney owns ESPN.
He was only talking about the funding and using it as a hypothetical. He's
Okay,
only talking about
so-
the fact that the funding. He's only talking about the
Well,
people
who was
to
talking
fund the
about
fight.
that? I wasn't talking about that.
I know.
But
that's what he
here's
was
the-
talking about. You came
But
in,
again,
jumped in,
again,
derailed the conversation, and then start talking about some other shit.
Well, because Smoke, oftentimes you'll come on here.
I
and
wasn't
you
the one talking,
pump
bro.
people
I was
and
like
talk
fucking
shit,
silent.
Okay,
I was,
and you
it
don't
was,
know
it
what
was,
you're
it was
talking
feeling
about.
somebody
All
else,
right, so
bro.
look,
You
let me
were
say
not
this.
silent.
Let me say this.
I
Let
just
me
got
say
in
this
here
real quick.
and you were not silent. You were talking.
Let me say this right here, okay? So I get it. The people who are financing the fight is not necessarily the one that's lead promoting the fight, right? Obviously, if you want to, okay, I get it. Obviously,
I thought you
if
were
you're going to,
silent.
Wait,
I thought you were being
whoever's
silent.
obviously,
financing
hold
the fight is who's paying the lead promoter.
hold on. So if let me just speak from, if I'm investing in something, right, like a boxing match, what I would do is say, hey, I'm putting up this money right here to back this fight, okay? And then I go out and I make sure the people who's going to promote the fight and broadcast the fight know what the fuck they doing. Now, this is the kicker that I'm trying to tell you. See, right now, Al Heyman is negotiating the deal for Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., okay? If these boys go to another company that now is in control of the contractual the contractual agreements that these two fighters have, Al Heyman and PBC is no longer controlling the money. The money is the power, okay? So when I say they're cutting them out financially. So anybody who has anything to gain within this fight that's connected to the PBC and that fucking contract is now cut out. Outside of the fact that Al Heyman is an advisor, he's not a promoter. Everybody understand that. He's going to deal solely with Errol Spence and his portion of the contract. So he still will get his 10%. But now that the contract that Al Heyman, that bitch is up in smoke, because guess what? These other people are handling the finances now. Do we understand what it means to cut them out? Is what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. I got you. So just to put put a fine point on it. If a hedge fund comes in and buys the rights to the fight, they can actually not even fucking ever make the fight happen. They can take it to wherever the fuck they want to take it to. They can go to the zone. They can put it on an app. They can put it on Fight TV. It's their fucking property. They can do whatever the fuck.
Exactly, because
They
like
don't even have to even make the fight.
Because, like, prime example,
They don't
Showtime can still do everything that they're going to do for the fight. Because you know why? Who's not signed with PBC, who fights on Showtime has plenty of fighters. Boots Ennis is one of them. Boots Ennis is not with don't do fuck with Al. He's not with PBC, but he fights on Showtime. So
correct, and you know what? But I mean, also fights on PBC cards. But he also fights on PBC. But Phil, this is my point. This is my point. The rest of that circle. But Phil, also understand that Boots fights on PBC cards, even though he's not a PBC fighter.
But my point is, that's my point though. He fights on PBC cards. He's not a PBC fighter. He's a what fighter? Showtime fighter.
He's like Cameron. I think he fights under Samson.
He's signed to Showtime. He's a Showtime fighter. You can look it up.
Right, but I'm saying, but he's signed to a promoter. He has a promoter, that's Samson, and he has a network that's Showtime.
Yes, there you go. So what I'm saying is this right here. When I say cut him out, I'm not saying that Showtime still can't do what they're going to do with the fight. They still can do that. That's the broadcasting portion of it, correct? Okay. So
no, but if they own it, they can cut Showtime out too. Like they can go somewhere. That's what exactly. My point is. My point is, if you're going to deal with Showtime, if you're going to my point is
Smoke. We've already established that the broadcaster doesn't necessarily own the fight. We got that. Correct. We said that already.
No. But my point is this. If you're going to not cut Showtime out, chances are you're going to be with PBC anyway. So you're not cutting Al Heyman out. Just like Boots Ennis is not with Showtime, even though Boots Ennis is not with PBC, but he fights on PBC fucking events.
But see, here's the problem, right? You don't have, let's say some third party comes in, right? And they want to promote the fight between Crawford and Spence, right? And they're offering $25 million a piece for Spence and Crawford. Spence and Crawford signed it on the dotted line. The promoter now can shop the fight around. Well, actually, they've already done so, but they can shop the fight around to the highest bidder. Might be Showtime, might be DAZN, might be, well, it can't be ESPN because they're exclusive to Top Rank. It could be CBS. It could be, they could put it on the app. So it doesn't necessarily have to be
Showtime. Exactly. They can make it an exhibition for them and 10 of their friends. They own the shit.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. So how do you think that Al? How do you think that with all these things? Why don't you think it's a conflict of interest for Al to say no? Don't do that.
No, it is a conflict. It's very much a conflict.
I'm just being real, bro.
It's very much a conflict of interest.
So this is what I'm saying. So you and your homeboy earlier. You and homeboy earlier.
He was like, question. We got there.
No, but I'm asking. Hold on, Smoke. Just slow down. I'm asking you a question. Mm-hmm. Why he said? Why would Al Heyman agree to that if he knows what the consequence is?
Right. I mean, and that again, what I'm just describing is, yeah, you can call it a conflict of interest, but I don't think, and this could very well be, I may be wrong. I think that Errol Spence would like, and I think we're all, at least for the sake of this conversation, just assuming that Al Heyman is there to argue, to negotiate on Errol Spence's behalf for Man Down Promotions as Errol Spence's advisor, right? Like,
that would be, but see, here's the problem. That's an incorrect assumption.
Okay. So fine. So let's say he's wearing two hats. So let's say he's wearing.
But let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have to understand that there are more relationships at work than just the relationship that exists between Al Heyman and Errol Spence. Al Heyman has responsibilities to other entities who also are invested in the PBC. These people need to get paid also. So these people don't get paid,
but they don't get paid off of this fight.
But let me finish. These people who also have investments in the PBC, they don't get paid when a PBC fighter goes to fight on a promotion that is not controlled by the PBC.
Correct.
That's the point. That's the point that's being made here, right?
I understand. I understand this point. I understand this point. I understand it. I understand
And
it. Fine.
and that
I'm
is
just
the
saying. All I'm saying is what you're asserting. It just took a long time to get there. Is that Al Heyman is wearing two hats when he negotiates. He's wearing I'm negotiating on behalf of Errol Spence. But really, my issue is I want what's best for the PBC, regardless of what's best for Errol Spence.
And
that's what it sounds like. What you guys are asserting,
and that is the business of boxing, has been for over 100 years.
Okay, so that has not been for 100 years. We haven't had this, but I'm not even going here with you because I know where that's going to end up. Like your 100-year conversations, it don't take 100 years to talk about this fucking fight. So, but when it sounds like, or is that where we are with this conversation right now? Phil, do you also agree with that?
So this is what I'm saying right here. Is it? Why wouldn't Al say, "Don't take that deal"?
Why wouldn't he say that? He wouldn't say that because he wouldn't say that if Errol Spence said to him, "Make a fight. I don't care about the terms," the way that Devin Haney said to Bill Haney. That's why he wouldn't say that. He would say, like, "Hey, since Errol Spence told me I don't care what the terms are, to make this fight happen. I don't give a damn how shitty it is. I don't care where it is." Like that. Okay, in that situation, then Al Heyman wouldn't be saying that.
Okay, but here's the problem with that analogy: is that the circumstances are vastly different.
Yeah, that's why Al Heyman wouldn't say that.
But okay, but the point that I'm making is that Devin Haney going into the first fight with Kambosos was in a vastly different situation than is.
I understand that, bro. That's why Al Heyman wouldn't say that. They two totally different situations. The only reason why Al Heyman wouldn't say to Bud, "Yeah, let's take that deal," is because Errol Spence didn't say to Al Heyman, "Make the fight," like Devin told Bill, "Make the fight no matter what the terms are."
Okay, but now you're making the assumption here that Errol Spence is actually in control. I'm
not saying that. No, it's not an assumption that he's in control. Listen, it's not even an assumption of that. Errol Spence said to Al Heyman, said to Bud, "Go talk to Al Heyman."
Okay, so then what does that tell you?
So for Al Heyman to say this thing, Errol Spence, the guy, since one guy's the fighter, man down promotions, the other guy's the advisor, unless you're telling the guy, right? Like Bill Haney, right? Bill and Devin. Bill's the dad, right? Bill's the guy that guided him. You could make the argument that Bill is probably in control. But the fighter told him, "I don't give a damn what you're talking about. Don't come back to me until you have a deal made." If Errol Spence didn't tell Al that, then why would Al say to him, "Yeah, let's take that $25 million"?
Okay,
unless Errol said that to him.
I guess then the point that you're making is that Errol Spence was not committed to making the fight. Is that the
I'm
point
saying
you're
that
making?
he wasn't committed to making the fight, no matter the terms.
So, so this is what I'm saying right here. So Errol Spence Jr., okay, and obviously this is all speculation because we're just going off what Terrence Crawford said, right? Let's just put that out there, okay?
Yeah, we're just topping up what he said last night. Yeah,
okay, all right. So this is what I'm saying. He said that he came to Errol and he told him about the deal, okay? Errol, we all know what he said. Errol said, "Okay, yeah, that do sound good because people not buying pay-per-views like that and all this other shit. I got a 5-stick." We all heard the shit from last night, correct? All right.
Yes, sir. Even though I don't know why the hell he need to dry snitch like that. He could have just said nobody buys pay-per-views or something like that. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, I get it. I got it. But so, all right. So he says, "Okay, let me run it by Al," is what he said. All right. Supposedly what he said, right? "Let me run it by Al." He went to Al, Errol Spence, Bud Crawford, all came to the conclusion that Al said that, "Hey, okay, but why would you cap yourself?" Okay, now, obviously, Al Heyman said that it wasn't a good deal because they went back to the negotiating table with the contract, right? So my deal is this right here. Al Heyman would say it's not a good deal because once the finances and the money leaves his hands, he no longer has control of the fight.
And exactly. I'm not, listen, exactly. I understand that. I understand,
Exactly.
right?
Okay, so if it's my job, right, to put on one of the biggest fights in the world, I'm not gonna tell my fucking fighter to go take this other deal up the road. I'm not gonna tell him that.
Yeah,
Because
but
honestly, you may think it's
Al
a
Heyman is supposed to be Errol Spence's promoter. I'm
No.
sorry. I'm
he's
sorry.
an advisor.
He's supposed to
His
be
advisor.
Errol Spence's advisor.
Yeah.
Correct. He's supposed to
And
advise
so
him what to do.
now he's advising Errol Spence to not take what is potentially the biggest payday of his career.
Yes.
No, he's telling him to not cap.
He's telling him
not the earnings on the biggest payday of his career.
And he's also telling him that I'm not going to be the one that's over the finances for this fight anymore as well. It's going to be these motherfuckers.
And he's also telling him, and he's also saying, we don't know who the hell the broadcast is going to be. We don't know anything. What we're going to do is you're going to take it $25 million and shut the fuck up and fight. That's what you're going to do.
Has Errol Spence made anywhere close to that amount of money?
I mean,
bro,
Jesus,
and then
now we're going back to this whole thing.
Look, and Fight Doctor, Bud Crawford even told him, look, we can do 80-20 on the back end once these guys make their money. Is what the nigga said, bro. Like, I don't know if this is true, but this sounds like a hell of a deal. You can make back end money, you can make upfront money, you can make all kind of fucking money during this particular fight, but you don't want to do it.
Correct, because you're going to give up ownership, bro. Like, first off, let's break this down. Let's just break down 80-20 and the
no, well, we don't even have
money
to go
front.
as far as 80-20. Seriously,
So
I mean,
let me. Okay, so let's look at this two ways. So let's put our negotiating hats on the way we understand negotiations to be, right? So there's two ways you could look at this. You could say, hey, you know what? If you're the investor,
three ways. Go ahead, though.
All right, cool. You can add a third, but I'm gonna talk about two, and then you can add a third if you want.
Okay.
If you're the investor, you go up to them and you say, I have X amount of dollars, and I want to buy the rights to this fight, and I want to just have it, and I'll exploit it the way I want. The other part of it is, I have money for this fight, and I want to get some return on it on the night or forever. Like, I just want to get a piece, and as long as I get my piece, you guys can have the rest. Right? Those are two different ways. So the second model, let's start that first. We say the 80-20 on the back end, that would come in after they recoup their money, right? And that would be whatever their investment is, right? Their investment plus whatever profit they wanted to make on top of the investment. Once they did all of that, then you can split whatever is left of that 80-20, right? So then that would be $50 million, whatever is, not $50 fucking million, right? So that the fight now you're talking about is whatever not only the proceeds of the profit, the proceeds of the fight, but also how much profit they expected to get. That seems to be like the two options that the investor has to look at. If you can tell me about a third one, go ahead.
Okay, so the third one is this right here. The investors put up the $50 million and they don't even recoup their money back, but Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. makes off like fucking thieves. That's the third option.
I'm just talking about I'm just talking about like what makes sense, what's a reasonable proposition for the investor, not what their risk is, but just like what they like. If you're putting up money, unless you're trying to launder money, like why would you go into a business deal to lose money?
No, but see, this is the deal. The reason why this. All right, let's cut the bullshit. If this fight was as lucrative as people said it was. Okay, and these guys are asking for all this money, it will be guarantees involved. Okay, like it just would be. Okay, so what I'm saying is the reason why this fight is structured the way it is because they are trying to figure out the financial situation with this thing, man. Like,
Phil, we're on the same page with this. The reason why there's not guarantees or high guarantees is because we don't know what pay-per-views are like. The market dictates right now why, if you're a consumer, why the fuck would you pay for something that you get for free? That's what pay-per-view is faced with right now.
Exactly.
Right? So that's a market reality. So
that's
giving high guarantees,
this is why I'm saying,
and expecting that you're going to meet that high guarantee, expecting to get that money, recouping that money from pay-per-views is a risky business. So what they're doing is giving you low guarantees and giving you a bunch of the pay-per-view on the back end.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is these guys aren't getting no guarantees. So this is what I'm gonna tell you right here. So obviously these guys aren't going to recoup their money solely on pay-per-view, right? They're going to have an opportunity to bring in sponsors, right? I'm sure these hedge fund groups has particular sponsors that they want to be involved in the fight, that wants to promote their company on that card. This is going to be
Yeah,
other
sponsorships
means.
should be huge. Yeah, sponsorships should be a big chunk.
Okay, yeah, this is other means of finances
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is going to come into play, correct?
Well, not just that, not only the sponsorship, but also movie theaters, also digital downloads, also worldwide
Yeah,
rights.
we know all about that, Smoke.
No,
But
good
what I
God,
want to
Pablo, like,
know, what I want to know, honestly,
what's your
Smoke.
deal, man?
Hang on, Smoke. Hang on. Can I talk for a second? You've been
Go
talking
ahead.
for a long time.
Go ahead.
So what I want to know is, why is it that you? I mean, are you Al Heyman? Because you come on here and you say shit like as if you know what's going on in the inner workings of this company, and literally no one ever gets to hear what Al Heyman has to say about anything. However, you come on here and you talk about it as if like you know it for a fact. So I'm wondering if you are maybe really Al Heyman. I'm starting to wonder if that's the
Okay,
case.
right. So, and
Because
since
you're
we're
like, Al
since we're
Heyman
having a
did
constructive
this.
conversation
No,
about the
I'm not
topic,
done,
and the topic
motherfucker.
is not me.
I'm not
Like,
done.
I'll
I'm
answer.
not
I'll be
done.
willing to answer whatever
I'm
questions you have
not
about me
done.
on my
I
channel.
didn't say talk
Cool.
yet. Yeah.
I got it,
So
but I
I'm not
talked
done.
anyway.
Can I
Now you
finish?
can keep
I'm
going, but I'm
starting to
not going to
wonder
answer
if
questions
you're
about
really
me.
Al
Go ahead.
Heyman. I'm starting to wonder if you're really Al Heyman because of the way you talk about it so confidently that you know what this man is thinking and doing behind the scenes, as if you're fucking in that camp. And like you're also, on the other hand, aside from that, hating on this other man and what he's doing to try to get out of being ducked. So why the fuck are you so invested in this if you're not Al Heyman? Please answer that question. Thank you.
Right. I will answer whatever questions we have about me and my interest and what you think
I just answered that.
confidence.
I just asked you a
You asked me a
question.
question. I'm trying to answer it. So whatever questions you have about what you think and my confidence level or
No,
what
you're
you think
not answering.
I'm doing
You're
it,
talking about my
I'm not done.
question.
I'm
Just
not done
answer the
talking.
question.
I'm answering your question. I'm
Just
sorry I'm not
answer the
answering the way that you want to
question.
answer it. But whatever the hell it is,
Just
Phil and I
answer
are
it
having a
and stop
constructive
talking about the
conversation about the
question.
topic, and the topic is not me. So if you want to talk about me, then
The
cool.
topic is
Why don't you
you
come?
if
Why
you're
don't you?
Al
I'll come
Heyman.
to your
And I'm
channel.
saying
I'll
you
come to
might
your
be Al
channel, or you can
Heyman.
come to my channel, and then
The
we can talk
topic
about
is
me.
you if you're Al Heyman, but it
I got
sounds
it.
like
I
you
understand.
might be.
Whatever you questions you have about me,
The
you can
way
ask
you
me on
talk
either
about
my
it, it
channel
sounds
or I'll
like
come
you
to your
might be
channel.
Al Heyman.
But right now, we are
And you
not
keep
talking about
on
me.
interrupting everybody constantly and just going
Okay,
on
cool.
and on
You
and
interrupted
on.
Phil to talk about this
I
dumb
know
shit.
what
I'm
your
trying to hear Phil, not you.
I know what your modus operandi is, sir.
No, you don't. Okay,
You
so
just keep
tell me
talking
if you want to talk
until
about
you
it.
wear everybody out,
Holy shit,
and
dude.
you're not going to wear me
Okay,
out,
awesome.
motherfucker.
I got it.
Ever.
So
I've been on
Can
here
we talk
longer
about?
than
I'm not a
you.
fighter.
I know
Can we talk
more
about
than
something other
you.
than me?
I know
I know
more
that you're
about the
fixated on
business than
me.
you.
I know you're
I know
obsessed with
more
me.
about
You're not
everything than
me,
you.
bro. You're never going
I
to
know
be
more
me.
about
You're never going to
everything
understand how
about
I
this
think
than you.
or tick. So stop trying.
Every aspect
So
of this,
can we
I
talk
know
about the
more than
fighters
you.
now?
Okay, why don't you just answer the fucking question?
I
Are
did.
you Al Heyman?
Yes, I'm Al Heyman. Phil, can you please
Okay, good.
keep cooking?
Now we know. We're talking to Al Heyman. Go on, everybody.
All right, so no, I'm saying this is my bottom line. I believe that it is a conflict of interest because obviously Al Heyman at this point is not going to have anything to do with the fight because this company is going to have the last and final say so on how this shit goes. So I think it's more so about Al Heyman, like I said earlier, maintaining control of this fight, being able to distribute the funds how he wants to, because as my man Fight Doctor said earlier, Al Heyman also has people that he's obligated to that wants to get paid as well. And the truth of the matter is, he probably owes people a little money, and he's probably banking that a lot of these funds on this fight. You understand what I'm saying? So he can't afford to give this fight away to somebody else. So as a smart businessman, he's supposed to advise his fighter that no, This is a bad deal. This could be you could be potentially capping yourself when you don't need to, and all this other kind of shit. He's giving them all the downsides to it, but he's not giving them the plus sides to taking the deal. And just like he say, hey, look, these guys could invest this $50 million and don't even make their money back. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is, man. And then Bob Arum even said it himself. I've been losing money on Bud Crawford since I signed him. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Bud is on some.
He kept putting the fights on, and he said I was banking on the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and I couldn't get it done, and this is why Bud said he left him because he couldn't get the fight done.
Right. So
the other side of this is you could also lose money. This is why guarantees. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. If Terrence Bud Crawford would have took a deal like this right here with Bob Arum, he wouldn't have made as much money as he made with Bob Arum and ESPN if he would have took the same deal with them. Correct?
Wait a minute, hold up. Sorry, if he would have took what deal?
So look, if his deal with Bob Arum was structured like this PBC deal, Terrence Bud Crawford, okay, wouldn't have made the money that he made with his guaranteed purses. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, he would have if he was at the PBC and fought the PBC fighters.
No. I'm saying if Terrence Crawford is signed with ESPN, Bob
fought the same guys, and fought the same guys.
Yes,
they wound up fighting. Yeah, yes. Those guys are not pay-per-view worthy. Of course not.
Okay, so this would have been technically this would have been a bad deal for him to take versus the upside.
Right. No, I got you. I got you. Listen, I understand that he's used to doing business this way, and that makes sense to him. And nothing, and the risk involved. I'm not mad at that. I feel like there's a better argument made for control versus he's so desperate because he has debtors breathing down his neck that he doesn't want this fight to go anywhere because he still has those debtors breathing down his neck. If Bud says no,
all that's the same. That's all within the same argument.
I'm just saying no, but it's not. Yeah. But there's two different things. There's one is his business is going underwater because he's not that great a businessman, and he has investors who are now hungry for some recouping of their investment. That's one part of this whole thing. Another part of it is he just wants control of the fight because control of the fight is better than not control of the fight. He just wants control for you. Don't even have to actually even make an argument as to why he would want control. He just wants control. Cool, right? So losing control, I feel like there's an argument to be made for that, right? But the argument that he made wasn't about losing control. The argument that he made was about capping earnings. So all this other stuff about whether or not he wants to have control and not have control, whether or not he has like investors who are nipping at his heels or not, whether or not his company is going under or not, all that to me is speculation and is like secondary to what Bud actually said.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, the point of the matter is this right here. Al Heyman is going to tell Errol Spence Jr. that this is not a good deal because he cannot afford to let the fight go somewhere else. Would you agree on that?
I don't know if he can afford it or not afford it. I know that I think that you made a pretty reasonable case for there could be some conflict of interest when it comes to the control.
That's what I'm saying. He can't.
I got you. I'm with you. I told you I was with you about a long time ago. Like once you laid it out, I just wanted to know what you meant by cutting him out and all that. You explained it. Right? I got it. I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? But I mean, look, at the end of the day, the fight didn't get done. PBC was in charge of making the fight happen. It didn't. I mean, it lies and it falls right in their lap. You understand what I'm saying? Obviously, Errol Spence Jr. was cool with the terms of the fight, and obviously Bud Crawford wasn't cool with the terms of the fight, right? And I get it. I don't think Bud Crawford should have the ability to approve expenses, right? I think that's going a little bit too out of your realm of being a fighter. But at the same time, if it's exclusively checking the books to make sure all the numbers add up, then yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So everybody's is cool with him seeing the books. As a matter of fact, the government worked that out before any of us were born.
Yeah,
Not
no, I
actually,
got that. I'm just stating my stance. Fuck the government.
No, I got that. I got that, and I appreciate it. And I just want to make sure.
Not actually fuck the government. I don't want y'all to big brother me. I love my country.
I'm just saying. I'm not even saying. All I'm saying is.
No, I'm letting them know where I stand. I know they're listening.
Yeah. No. Okay. Cool. So we understand that just because something is a law doesn't mean it's moral, right?
Yeah.
But we're agreeing with the morality of it, of him able to check the books, and we're also acknowledging that this is not even a negotiating point, because the government has already mandated that he gets the right to check the books. This is not a point of contention that needs to be negotiated. What I'm saying to you is that when I said it was weird, and the reason why I'm saying that, like, if you want to assign blame where you could assign it to Bud Crawford, is because he put out a deadline that was his own deadline. That is nothing, just him just saying he wants to fight. That's it. There's no consequences to this. This is just Bud laying down the law. This is a total arbitrary fucking set deadline set by Bud. Not only that, once he set the deadline, he had one team negotiating in his name that he then fired. That took a whole bunch of fucking time and everybody's resources. Apparently, they ironed out a deal, and they didn't have the power or whatever to negotiate for Bud. So then Bud took that fucking thing over and then asked for something that's not the way the PBC does business. It's not the way the industry runs, and it doesn't even make fucking business sense. If you are not putting up the fucking money, why in the entire fuck would you get the right to approve expenses? Right? So you have to work that part of it out. So now, in the time it took to work those two things out, your arbitrarily fucking deadline is up. So now what you're saying is, I'm going to go out of the fight that everybody wants to see, and I'm going to fight this dude that nobody wants to see, and that's going to happen 2 months before the proposed before the proposed fight, after doing all these negotiations and iron out all these weird ass fucking situations surrounding Bud.
But you do realize that he told BLK Prime that he couldn't do business with him because this was the only fight that he wanted, right?
Awesome. It seems like he was a good faith negotiator with BLK Prime. But it sounds like he was a bad faith negotiator with fucking Al Heyman and Steven Espinoza.
No, bro. He told no, how are you a good faith negotiator when a company comes to you and tell you they can give you $10 million and you tell them, no, I'm trying to get this fight done.
Right. That is him being good faith negotiations with BLK.
No,
that's good faith.
Bro, that's not a negotiation. You come to me and I tell you no, that negotiations are over. If I tell you no to something, that means we're no longer negotiating.
No, bro. No. He said the reason why he told him no is because he was in negotiations with something else. As soon as those negotiations fell apart, he went right back to BLK Prime. That is that's
not good faith negotiations.
That is totally good faith negotiations.
Yeah, with PBC.
No, bro. PBC. It would have been good. Okay, hold on a second. It would have been good. It would have been good faith negotiations.
Good faith negotiations. Good faith
let me explain to you why I'm saying good faith.
Explain to me.
I'm telling you why I'm using it. I'm telling you why I'm using it, because it seems like we have now a difference in why I'm using the term. So let me explain why I am using the term good faith negotiation and why I'm saying he was with BLK and not with Al Heyman. The good faith thing was to alert BLK Prime that he was already in negotiation. The reason why he couldn't accept their deal was because he was already in negotiations. He was transparent with BLK Prime about his negotiating status. He did not tell Al Heyman that he had the fight he had another offer. It sounds like that both, according to Steven Espinoza, who said he was blindsided by it, and then according to Errol Spence in his tweet, and he was like, "What the fuck is taking so long?" They did not have any idea that this David Avenesian had ever even happened. So BLK Prime knew he was in negotiations because he told them, but he did not tell the other people that BLK Prime even existed.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna tell you right here. Okay, he don't have to tell them that this other company exists if he tells the other company, no, I'm trying to make this fight happen. He don't have to tell them that, hey, I got another company coming to me trying to make a fight happen. He don't have to do that because he already done told these motherfuckers, look, I appreciate you, but I can't fuck with y'all. I got other shit going on, and y'all know this already. So, bro,
Yeah,
he don't have to come
listen,
out.
listen. I didn't say that. I didn't say he had to tell.
So hold
Hey,
on,
Phil,
Smoke. I
I
let
didn't
you
say.
cook. I
I
let
didn't
you
say
cook.
that.
I let you cook. I let you cook.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
let you cook. He don't have to come out and say, hey, it's another company that offered me a fight, but I told him no because I got this one going on. What the fuck? If you told him no, why the fuck you even telling me?
Bro, I didn't say. Listen, you're making.
Hold on,
I'm just telling you. You're saying
your
the same
wife.
thing over
Hold
and
on.
over, but it
That's like
is
your
not.
wife.
It's not my
Yo,
point. My
bro,
point is
but
that
that's
they
like,
have to tell.
hold on,
Let me finish, bro.
Smoke.
You don't have to tell
You
them.
didn't let me finish, Smoke.
Oh,
That's
okay,
like
shit. Go ahead.
That's like your wife going out and saying, hey, honey, somebody tried to holler at me, but I told them no. Well, why you don't even need to tell me that shit, like, because it don't matter. You did what you supposed to do. Like, why are you telling me that? They long gone. Like, you told them no, you handled your business. You know you got something going on over here. Now, if I fuck up and she run into this person again, and she decide to holler at them, then that's what it is. It's my fault. I shouldn't have fucked up. That's not the same thing, bro.
Right. So again, I didn't say that he had to do it. At no point did I say he had to tell anybody anything. I'm just talking about whether or not you're negotiating in good faith or not. So if you want to be negotiating in good faith, then yeah, then you're transparent about the other offers that you have, and that you're thinking about taking this fucking fight because this other thing is dragging on too long. That's what good faith is. Does that mean that you have to be good faith? No, you don't. Nobody said he had to do this. Like,
bro,
just like your wife doesn't have to tell you that somebody hit on her, but guess what? It would be cool. Like, you might want to know that, or you might not want to know that. That depends on you and your relationship with your wife. Maybe you're the kind of guy that would like to know that kind of shit. That your wife is getting fucking hit on, and make sure that she feels like she got everything she needed at home.
Bro,
maybe you don't want to hear that. But whatever. But there's no that's not even about being good faith or bad faith. That's about the nature of your relationship. So that's just like disanalogous. All I'm saying to you is he was good faith with BLK and wasn't good faith with the other people because he was transparent. Transparent with BLK. He was not transparent with the other people.
So BLK didn't know he was in negotiations with Errol Spence Jr.
Regardless of whether they knew or didn't know.
I'm asking you.
Okay,
did BLK, if Terrence Crawford would have never told them, did BLK not know he was in negotiations with PBC?
I can't speak to it. All I know is
that's what. Man. See, that's that bullshit. Come on, man. Don't be.
Okay, hold up a second.
Don't be no bullshit ass nigga.
Hold up a second. Hold up. That's not the bullshit. That is, I'm going by what.
Bullshit.
Hold up a second. Hold up a second.
This is why I lead the conversation.
Let me finish, bro. Like, let me finish, bro.
This is why I lead the conversation.
No, hold up a second.
This is why I say good night, man. Because you're trying to tell me that BLK didn't know he was negotiating with Errol Spence Jr.
I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to finish a point, and I'm trying to get the same respect I gave you. Like, really, all I'm saying to you is, if you want to ask me if I know what they knew, I don't know. If you want me to assume if they knew, I can't do that.
What's your opinion?
Can I finish, bro? Can I finish my point?
Do you think BLK knew?
Fucking
because
hell, why do you think that I should not? Why do you think I should not? Why do you think I should not interrupt you? If you continually interrupt me,
Smoke,
bro, can you please let me finish my point instead of going all off the fucking thing?
Nah, Smoke,
bro,
you just said,
bro, you're answering like I'm trying to fucking get to my point. God damn.
Smoke, you just said.
You still won't let me. Go ahead, Phil. Don't let me finish my point. Let me write my point down though first, so I don't forget when I keep going down your rabbit hole.
You just said
let me write it down first. Hold up a second.
It was good faith negotiations.
Okay, I can't even remember my point. You don't want me to make my point. You're afraid of my point at this point.
All right, Smoke. I'm gonna holler at you, man. Good night. B-Talk. I appreciate you letting me come on your live stream. Get the smoke. Get the smoke. Don't want to hear what I gotta say.
No, bro, you don't want to hear what I have to say. You keep interrupting me. I'm not interrupting you. You're interrupting me.
What I gotta say.
No, you don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm the one with the floor, bro.
You just said out of your mouth, you keep talking about these good faith negotiations that Terrence Crawford told BLK that he was negotiating with PBC. He didn't have to tell him that.
That's what he said, bro.
Fucking world
That's what his own words were. His own words. Why are you hanging me for what Terrence Bud Crawford said? Terrence Bud Crawford said, no, I'm already in negotiations. That's what he told them. That is a good faith thing to do. I'm applauding him for doing this.
Yes.
Correct. That is
he
good
did,
faith.
bro.
What would
Bro,
have also been
he
good faith
didn't
is
have
if
to
he said
tell
the
him that
same thing.
because they
I didn't say he
knew.
had to do this. I'm just telling you what is good faith. Not that he has to
That's
do it.
not good faith, bro.
It is a good
He
faith.
had to
It
give
is
it,
good
bro.
faith.
All
And
he
bro,
did was give him an explanation of why he can't do business with him. That's all he
correct.
did. That's not good faith.
Correct. Okay.
That's
All right.
not good faith. That's saying,
All right.
hey,
Again.
I
All right.
appreciate y'all. I
All
can't
right.
do
All right.
business with y'all because
So
this
you
is
have
the
an issue
only
with my
fight I'm
language. So
focused
you have
on.
so all right. So right.
That's
So
not good
for
faith.
me,
That's just giving a nigga. That's just giving niggas a reason why I can't do business with you.
all
That's
right.
not good
So let me
faith.
ask you this. So what is bad faith if it's not good faith? What's bad faith about telling your person your status that that's tending you an offer? What's bad faith about that?
What do you mean your status?
What Bud did was tell him, I can't take your offer because I'm in negotiations over here. He told him his status.
Exactly. That's
Good
not good
faith.
faith. That's just
That's
telling
good
them, hey,
faith.
look. That's not good faith. Because look, in order to have a good
How's
faith
it bad
negotiation,
faith?
in order, bro, that's just telling the nigga what you got
So it's not
going
good
on.
faith, it's not bad faith. If it's not, it's certainly not bad faith, correct?
No.
Great. So I'm saying it is bad faith to not tell the other person.
Yo, bro, if I'm negotiating with PBC, right? And I have faith that this fight is going to get done because I have other offers and I'm telling them, no, I'm waiting on these motherfuckers because this is what I want. I want these people over here. That's good faith negotiations. That's having faith that the negotiations will come to a close and everybody will get what they want. This is why I'm telling Black Prime, no. I have good faith negotiations that PBC, Al Heyman, Earl Smith Jr., and Terrence Bud Crawford are going to get the fucking fight done. This is why I'm not fucking with you, BLK Prime. Because guess what? I want this fight. I appreciate y'all, but this is the only shit I want. That's good faith negotiations. And when those negotiations fall through, your faith was misplaced. Do you not get that, my friend?
Yeah, all right, Wayne. I guess that's it. I'm just gonna get yelled at and talked at. And yeah, Bud Crawford fans, I feel like they can't really handle the conversation. It's cool. Peace to you, Wayne. Peace to everybody who came out. I'm out. I'm here. I'm on the live by myself at this point. Congrats. Welcome back to the live stream. I see why you took a hiatus.